Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 61 Victory. The perspective returns to Lord Kam's side. Everything is already dealt with regarding the banquet. Then, the first thing Shirahoshi wants to do with her freedom is to visit her mother's grave. The three princes did not disturb, using the excuse of needing to relay a message for Jinbei, while Kam, without any reservation, shamelessly chose to go with Shirahoshi. Your navy, right? Have you seen the sun? Do stars really rise in the sky at night? Have you ever been to a place called a forest, full of green? On the way, Shirahoshi was like a curious baby, asking a series of questions that would be considered childish even for a 5-year-old. I'm not navy, but I am hunting down a pirate. I've seen the sun. You can always see the sun on land. Oh, that's not right, you can't see it when it rains or when it's cloudy. Stars rise in the sky every night, twinkling, very beautiful. Oh, that's not right either, you can't see them when it rains or when it's cloudy. I've been to the forest. But this world doesn't just have green forests, there are also golden and red forests. Kam answered tirelessly. Golden forests. Shirahoshi's eyes sparkled with golden light. I'll take you to see them in the future, okay? Kam asked. Yes. Shirahoshi nodded heavily. Omitted. I think it's fine, I just like Lord Kam. Hearing this, Kam's lips immediately curled up. Jia. Then he desperately covered his mouth. Damn it. How did I accidentally laugh out loud? Shirahoshi. Confused, she thought to herself what a strange laugh. Then she squeezed out a smile in imitation. Jia. Kam. Upon hearing this, he was stunned. Then he covered his face. It's over, I've corrupted her. By the way, what pirate is Lord Kam going to capture? At this time, Shirahoshi suddenly asked. Kam naturally didn't hide anything and directly took out Wang Lufei's wanted poster. Here, it's this pirate. Then he said extremely angrily. It was this guy who injured my wife and the child in her belly. Ah. As soon as these words came out, Shirahoshi was shocked. Mixed with a trace of resentment, she asked, does Lord Kam already have a wife? Kam naturally saw a trace of resentment in Shirahoshi's eyes. He spread his hands innocently and said, I was born into an imperial family, it is my responsibility to expand the family. Moreover, I have more than one wife. What Kam said was not false. Not to mention that he himself is a direct descendant of the celestial dragon family, a status even nobler than an emperor. A year ago, he spent 1 billion belly to buy the Lulan kingdom. Now he is also the legitimate king of Lulan kingdom. A proper emperor. Is that so? Shirahoshi's resentment immediately dissipated. Having also been born into an imperial family, she can better understand the reason behind it. If her own father wasn't deeply in love with her mother, and if her father wasn't lacking in that area, she would definitely have a stepmother and younger siblings. Amidst the laughter and conversation along the way, the two quickly arrived at Sea Forest, reaching the tomb of Otahime. Kam originally thought he would run into Jinbei, but unfortunately he didn't. After Shirahoshi finished paying her respects, Kam sent her back to Ryugu Kingdom. Then he returned to the hotel. He didn't forget the purpose of coming here. To vent his anger. To eliminate Wang Lufei. But because Wang Lufei has an invincible buff, I still can't eliminate him. The next movie is the Z arc, fighting Zephyr. Although Admiral Zephyr is old, he shouldn't be someone Wang Lufei, who just came out of Fish Man Island reporting village can defeat. According to the system, a buff has also been activated. Kam pondered the details of the future, falling into thought. And Doflamingo isn't in the movie, which means that Wang Lufei defeated Doflamingo with his own strength at that time. Defeating Doflamingo is a watershed moment. Once the experience is gained, Wang Lufei will only become stronger and stronger. I must eliminate Wang Lufei before Dressrosa. And what I need to do now is, as the system said, first consume Wang Lufei's luck. Then I will definitely be able to win. Wait a minute. Suddenly, Kam was stunned. I can't eliminate Wang Lufei, but that doesn't mean I can't hurt him. Thinking of this, he suddenly stood up. Kaji. Boss, I'm here, Kaji called from outside the room. You go and hunt down Wang Lufei now. You don't need to go all out, just make sure he can't sleep or eat. But where is he? Near Mermaid Cafe. Yes. Kaji gave a military salute. It's worth mentioning, Fishman Island, Ryugu Kingdom, is quite special, it's a member of the world government. But it's also protected by pirates. So the Navy can't go to Fishman Island in large numbers. This is a balance maintained by the world government, and even Kam can't break it. Not long after Kaji left, Mingmei found Kam and asked, "Can you do me a favor?" "What favor?" Mingmei said. "I said before that our family was one of those who gave Otahime the letter of approval back then. So I hope that the fish man can live on land as she imagined." "You seem to admire that queen very much," Kam frowned. "No, it's just that the ancestors hoped that the fish man would appear on land," Mingmei said. "Isn't that simple?" "Simple." Kam raised his eyebrows. "Wouldn't a marriage alliance solve it?" Mingmei felt amused. "Marriage alliance? No one in the clan is willing to mate with fish man." Halfway through her laughter, she couldn't laugh anymore. Kam pointed to himself with a confident smile. But don't you have an engagement with Vivi?" Mingmei couldn't help but ask. "Have you forgotten what I am?" Kam said proudly. "I am a big pervert." Mingmei. She was speechless. It seems that's really the case. After dismissing Mingmei, Kam summoned the system again. "System. Exchange the technique for me. Ding == Yin Yang Dragon Phoenix Creation Art Pirate version price 2.5 million experience points. Exchange successful. Congratulations to the host for the great success of the technique." Chapter 62 Banquet. Jia ha ha ha. Kam had been saving experience points for nearly a year, and this was the reason. The idea was simple. The pirate world isn't some high-level combat world. My system, combined with the cultivation methods of this kind of mystical world, will definitely achieve twice the result with half the effort. And it can also enhance the combat power of my women. Although as a man, Kam would try not to let them fight. But increasing their strength is always a good thing. Monet. Immediately, Kam happily called Monet over. Then, comma comma, comma comma, hiss. Not long after starting to cultivate, Monet exclaimed in surprise. Deleted. A mysterious energy permeated her limbs and bones. That energy was very peculiar. After absorbing it, she actually felt herself becoming stronger. Not only was her control over her devil fruit more mature, there seemed to be a budding trend in strength. As a former Don Quixote family member, she understood very well what that was. Hockey prototype. Husband. What exactly is going on? Why have I suddenly become stronger? Color dividing line. Jia ha ha ha, I still have foresight. I didn't rush to increase my strength. The next day, Kam's observation hockey was only a step away from entering the intermediate stage. A few more times, and I will immediately be a powerhouse with two-color hockey both reaching the intermediate level. Kam's eyes narrowed as he looked at Monet on the bed. That's right. System. What's going on with Monet? At this time, Monet was closing her eyes to rest. Looking like she still hadn't recovered. Open black lens bracket returning to master. The women who cultivate with you are all defaulted to be initiated into the cultivation method, close black lens bracket. The system explained in detail. The general idea was that they needed time to consolidate the improvement in their strength. Comma comma. At the same time, somewhere in the suburbs of Fishman Island. On the reef, 3 merfolk of different colors were stranded on the beach. Playing in the water. Have you guys heard? It seems like many merfolk have gone missing these past 2 days. The cyan merfolk suddenly said. What's so strange about that? The orange merfolk shook her head and smiled bitterly. It's probably done by those humans who landed on the island. Huh. That's not right. The pink merfolk said in surprise. No humans have landed on the island for nearly a month. Little Pink, your information is outdated. The cyan merfolk who brought up the topic at the beginning explained. 2 groups of humans entered Fishman Island a few days ago. I think the merfolk traffickers are probably one of them. Ah. The pink merfolk exclaimed. Then aren't we very dangerous? This is the suburbs. It shouldn't be that unlucky, right? The cyan merfolk frowned and thought for a while, feeling that it wasn't a big deal. But she couldn't stand the fear of the other 2 merfolk. In the end, she compromised. She wanted to take Little Orange and Little Pink home together. But just at this moment, the swamp was like a flood. Without warning, instantly submerging the several young merfolk. Cough ha ha ha, I caught 3 more merfolk. I'll be a billionaire soon. Calibu laughed so hard that his mouth couldn't close. Thanks to those Straw Hat Crew guys. Thanks to them, I can land on Fishman Island without even having to go through immigration checks. I can hunt high-level merfolk to my heart's content. This is really a treasure land. You, who are you? How dare you trap merfolk? Just then, a blue merfolk passing by saw Kamu. He pointed and roared angrily. Then he wagged his fins. He quickly grabbed at the merfolk in the swamp, wanting to rescue the three merfolk. Kamu wasn't flustered. Cough ha ha ha, I am Kamu of the Straw Hat Crew. After saying that, he stretched out his big hand. The swamp mud was like a vortex, instantly engulfing the blue merfolk who didn't know his own strength. Another merfolk in hand, for Kamu, that was another 70 million belly in the account. Cough ha ha ha, Straw Hat not only brought me in, but also takes the blame. What a great person. Smiling, the swamp mud that had engulfed the merfolk condensed into a human form again. Then, carrying a sack specially used for kidnapping. Taking big steps, looking for the next target. Pirate. Merfolk trafficker. Please don't find me. At this time, no one noticed the reef below. A purple merfolk was desperately covering her mouth, afraid of being discovered. After a long time, the purple merfolk left after confirming that she was safe, and went to the nearest soldier Shao post as soon as possible. Kama Kama. Kama Kama. 2 days later. Dragon Palace City. At this moment, it was decorated with lanterns and colorful banners, very lively. Today, for the Ryugu royal family and even the entire Ryugu kingdom, it was a day of great joy. Because not long ago, the mermaid princess had finally escaped from the prison of Hardshell Tower. Neptune only announced this news last night. Such a fortunate event should of course be celebrated properly. Princess Shirahoshi finally doesn't have to live in that broken house. Bullshit house, that's just a prison. Actually, she still has to live there for a while. Currently, there are no renovated buildings in Dragon Palace that can accommodate the princess's size, and they are still being renovated. I'm curious, which of them defeated Vanderdecken X, that bastard? I heard it only took less than 3 minutes. The ministers were discussing, and their eyes couldn't help but shift to the jade main table of the banquet. At this moment, on the main table, in addition to the royal family and the left and right ministers, there were also 4 human faces. It was Cam and his group. Strange, where is Princess Shirahoshi? At this time, the left minister suddenly asked. Shirahoshi is too big, she eats alone in Hardshell Tower. Shark Star told a lie, he couldn't possibly say that Shirahoshi didn't dare to show her face. Chapter 63. The Straw Hat Pirates are mermaid dealers. I see. Quote. The ministers all looked like they understood. It was not surprising that Shirahoshi's size was different from ordinary people since she was a child. Mr. Cam, do you know Jinbei? Quote. King Neptune saw Cam's eyes fixed on Jinbei in the corner and asked with a tight heart. Cam withdrew his gaze from Jinbei and said, I don't know him, I've just heard of him. King Neptune, don't worry. Although we are the Navy, we are now on vacation. I won't have any ideas about Jinbei. Kaji explained, fearing a misunderstanding. I see. Hearing this, Neptune breathed a sigh of relief. He really thought that the purpose of these 4 Marines was Jinbei. And then he just happened to invite Jinbei to the banquet. Wouldn't that be very... Oh. Speaking of Jinbei. I forgot all about it. At this time, Shark Star slammed his thigh and said, Left Minister, do you know where the Straw Hat Crew is on the island? Jinbei asked me to bring them a message. Quote. Hiss. Straw Hat Crew. Quote. Before the left minister could reply. Monet immediately breathed rapidly. She hadn't forgotten that the purpose of their trip was Wang Luffy of the Straw Hat Crew. Huh. Quote. Neptune was also a shrewd person and immediately noticed Monet's abnormality. Could it be that your goal is the Straw Hat Crew? Quote. To be honest, King Neptune. The purpose of my trip is the Straw Hat Crew. Cam said, looking like he was suppressing his anger. Ah, this. Shark Star immediately froze. This Cam seemed to have a deadly feud with the Straw Hat Crew. Was it not good for him to say this now? Dragon Palace Prince Shaxing, don't be embarrassed. We'll talk about our own things. Seeing this, Cam quickly pretended to be generous and said. But in his heart, he kept shouting MMP. Earlier, he was still wondering, it had been 3 days already, and the Straw Hat Crew was about to leave. Why haven't they been arrested yet? It turned out that Shark Star had not remembered this at all. In the original plot, Shark Star ordered Luffy to be arrested. Seeing that Cam had said so, Shark Star didn't care so much. He asked the left minister in detail about the specific location of the Straw Hat crew again. Cam's actions immediately gave everyone present the label of generosity. Report. Quote. At this moment, a soldier suddenly came to report. Neptune. It's so annoying. Why is there an urgent report at a good banquet? Neptune said with a Cheyenne J face. Speak. Quote. The soldier said in a loud voice. Report. The Straw Hat crew is suspected of luring and capturing a large number of merfolk. Quote. The entire banquet hall heard it. What? Quote. Jinbei, who was eating at the corner of the table, overturned the table when he heard this. He quickly walked to Neptune and looked at the soldier beside him. He picked him up. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The Straw Hat crew would never lure merfolk. Jinbei, stop it. Neptune stopped Jinbei. He thought that Jinbei was so rude. What do you mean by suspected? Shark Star asked, realizing the problem. Back to First Prince. We still know the specific members of the Straw Hat crew. But the eyewitness said that the one who kidnapped them was a mud monster. Mud monster. Quote. Jinbei was furious. Nonsense. There is no mud monster in the Straw Hat crew at all. The soldier also suppressed his anger and shouted loudly. But the eyewitness said that the mud monster claimed to be a member of the Straw Hat crew. And there are also eyewitnesses who said that they saw the mud monster running out of the Straw Hat crew's ship. Moreover, there is news from the mainland that the Straw Hat crew once recruited a large number of pirate members. Nonsense, there is no solid evidence at all. At most, it is just suspected. Jinbei argued. So I said suspected from the beginning. The soldier shouted. Ah, this. Jinbei, don't interrupt, let him finish. Neptune said. Jinbei let go, and the soldier nodded and continued, the thing is like this. As a result, the soldier told the whole story from beginning to end. Everyone present was shocked after hearing the story. No other humans had entered Fish Man Island in the past month. The only ones were the Straw Hat crew and the 4 Cams who were eating at the banquet. It was self-evident who the merfolk trafficker was. Then let's arrest the Straw Hat crew first. Neptune said at this time, making a decision. But King, Jinbei wanted to fight for it. Jinbei, I know you admire the Straw Hat crew very much. Neptune waved his hand. I don't believe that the Straw Hat crew would do such a conscienceless thing, but only by inviting them to confront each other can they be cleared of their innocence. Okay. But, Jinbei compromised and shifted his gaze to the 4 Cams again. He had just heard that these, Marines, were chasing the Straw Hat crew. Seeing the gaze cast, Cam naturally knew Jinbei's concerns. We'll talk about our own things. I disdain taking advantage of others' danger. What a joke. He, Cam, would definitely take advantage of others' danger. But the key is that Wang Lufei's invincible buff has not been used up yet. He can't kill him either. Staying on Fish Man Island now is to plunder Wang Lufei's luck according to the method provided by the system. With Cam's guarantee, Jinbei no longer interfered. Soon, soldiers went to Fish Man Cafe. Then Jinbei was afraid that the Straw Hat crew would not know the cause and effect and would fight the soldiers, so he also went to Fish Man Cafe. Fish Man Cafe. What? We traffic merfolk. Quote. Everyone in the Straw Hat crew widened their eyes, their faces full of shock. Nami's delicate body trembled slightly. I think there must be some misunderstanding. After our members gathered, we have been living in Fish Man Cafe. We haven't been anywhere. Usopp said with resentment. We have been hunted down by a wretched marine these past few days. How could we have time to traffic merfolk? The soldier didn't listen to the Straw Hat crew's explanation, and glared angrily. Don't pretend you don't know. An eyewitness saw your crew members luring merfolk, and personally admitted that they were from your Straw Hat crew. He was about to take action and forcibly suppress them. It's really unreasonable. Luffy swung his fist as big as a sandbag. Kaimi is our friend, how could we traffic Kaimi's kind? He was about to smash it towards the soldier's head. With a bang. But it was blocked by a pair of big hands. Who? Quote. Luffy was first annoyed, but when he looked up, he was shocked. Jinbei. Quote. The soldier was surprised. Boss Jinbei. Quote. Hiss. Shichibukai. The rest of the Straw Hat crew looked wary when they saw Jinbei. They thought Jinbei was here to arrest them. I am no longer a Shichibukai. Jinbei smiled faintly and waved his hand, then said with a serious face, Luffy, and everyone in the Straw Hat crew, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Waiting for us. Quote. Everyone in the Straw Hat crew was surprised. They thought, do we know you? Everyone, this is Jinbei. Luffy couldn't wait to introduce. During Top War, it was him. After listening to Luffy's narration, everyone in the Straw Hat crew nodded frequently. They thought, so Luffy has this relationship with this former Shichibukai. Then he must not be here to arrest them. Chapter 64 Slander. Comma. After some conversation. I see. Thank you for taking care of Luffy during that time. It's nothing. At this moment, the soldier saw Jinbei and the Straw Hat crew talking and laughing, and he became a little dissatisfied. Boss Jinbei, please don't interfere with official business. As he spoke, he looked like he wanted to attack again. Jinbei reached out to stop the soldier. Wait a minute. I'm here to solve this matter. He looked at the Straw Hat crew again. He carefully explained the cause and effect of the matter. What mud monster? Luffy looked confused, saying that there was no mud monster in his pirate crew at all. Don't pretend to be stupid. I heard that merfolk traffickers say that he is member of your Straw Hat crew. At this time, a purple merfolk pointed at the Straw Hat crew with a resentful face and said, moreover, I also saw that mud monster get off your ship with my own eyes. Damn it, I hate pirates the most. What did you say? The purple merfolk's voice was very small in the second half of the sentence, but Luffy still heard it. Damn it. It's okay to slander me. You even slander my profession. He immediately became angry and raised his fist as big as a sandbag and swung it towards the merfolk's head. Help me, help me. He wants to kill me to silence me. The purple merfolk shouted and cowered behind the soldier. Bang! A sandbag fist slammed into Luffy. Luffy, don't be ridiculous. Nami retracted her fist and looked at Jinbei and others with some apology. Jinbei, and this merfolk lady. I think you have misunderstood. Luffy has a bad memory and forgot about the mud monster. The rest of the Straw Hat crew remember it clearly. That mud monster's name is Calibu. He was the attacker we encountered when we went to Fishman Island. He came to Fishman Island with us. Our Straw Hat pirates have nothing to do with him. As for him claiming to be a member of the Straw Hat crew, obviously, he wants to pin the blame on us. Usopp added from the side, our Straw Hat pirates are also infamous, and the number of members can be found everywhere. You can find out that the mud monster is definitely not one of us with a little investigation. You long-nosed guy looks like you are a born liar. At this time, a soldier became unhappy and snorted coldly. As far as we know, a few days ago, the Straw Hat crew publicly recruited pirate members on Shambles Islands on a large scale. That mud monster may have been recruited by you at that time. You are talking nonsense. The Straw Hat crew all said that this person was talking nonsense. When they were on Shambles Islands, there were navy everywhere to encircle and suppress them. They were forced to huddle on Island 3. It is difficult to travel freely. Also publicly recruiting members. Don't you think that our Ryugu kingdom is an underwater kingdom and has no eyes and ears on land? As the soldier spoke, he took out a photo and pointed to it and said, this is the evidence that you publicly recruited pirate members. The Straw Hat crew looked over. They were all dumbfounded. Isn't this a fake Straw Hat crew? Everyone felt as uncomfortable as if they had eaten *T. No. Why are there so many idiots who can mistake something that is obviously fake? That's a fake Straw Hat pirates. Nami pointed at the photo and roared. Fake. The soldier sneered. You haven't been born for 2 years, and as soon as you are born, fake pirates come out. And it just so happens that you are recruiting members. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? The Straw Hat crew was speechless. It really is such a coincidence. Why did that fake Luffy have to swagger and cheat 2 years later? Hiss. Luffy, Nami, Zoro, Sanji, when did you recruit other partners? At this moment, Chopper snatched the photo and exclaimed incredulously. Straw Hat crew. Everyone covered their foreheads. Okay, there is one idiot in our own family. Hearing this, the soldier sneered. It seems that your raccoon dog pet can't lie. I have already made up my mind. This Straw Hat crew is a ferocious pirate who lures merfolk. Merfolk trafficker. Even their pets have admitted it. He raised his trident and said fiercely, Straw Hat crew. You have captured a large number of merfolk. I am ordered by the Great Knight to arrest you. He wanted to attack the Straw Hat crew. Clang. With a sound. It was stopped again. The soldier glared at the person who took action, Boss Jinbei. I call you boss because you are my senior, but if you continue to protect this kind of criminal, I won't be polite to you either. Jinbei covered his face. You will die if you, a small fry, attack. Do you really think you are so awesome? He was about to speak, but Robin took the lead. Robin asked in a deep voice, this soldier, may I ask where you are going to arrest us? The soldier said, of course it's the Royal Palace prison. Robin asked again, then what if? Prove that Calibu is not a member of our Straw Hat crew, what should we do then? The soldier replied, if it is really a misunderstanding, our Ryugu kingdom will express our most sincere apologies to you. Robin nodded. Okay. With that, he signaled the soldiers present to arrest them. Robin, you. Everyone was a little puzzled. What is Robin doing? Although they also want to prove their innocence, there is no need to be arrested. The Ryugu prison is in Dragon Palace City, even the Navy cannot enter it without permission. Robin whispered to the Straw Hat crew. Yes. That's right. Except for Luffy, Chopper. The rest of the Straw Hat crew's eyes lit up. I immediately understood what Robin meant. These days, they have been chased so miserably by a Navy Kaji that they can only hide in the Fish Man Cafe. Rely on Kaimi, the clerk, to cover up. Sanji nodded. That's a good idea. Even if it is discovered in the end, Kaimi will not be implicated. Brooke and Frankie also nodded. With our strength, they can't trap us. Zoro also nodded. As long as there is wine, it's the same everywhere. Straw Hat crew. Speechless for a while. They are all in prison, who will let you drink? Nami was a little panicked and said, but if we leave, what about the Sunny? It's not that Nami is afraid. She always has to consider when she leaves Fish Man Island in the future. Frankie shook his head. Don't worry about this, the person responsible for arranging the Sunny is my master's younger brother. He will take good care of the Sunny. No shipwright would be willing to let a treasure ship like the Sunny have problems. Nami nodded, and she was no longer worried. Luffy also had no objection to this. Even if he is stupid, he knows that his group has been framed by the mud monster. He doesn't want to be known as a merfolk trafficker. Not to mention it sounds bad. Just say that if Kaimi knows and misunderstands, how should our group face the latter? That. At this time, Usopp hesitated to speak, and finally lowered his head and said uncomfortably, I have a disease that will kill me if I go to prison, Straw Hat crew. Get out. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 65. Luffy meets Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi slaps him in the face. Behind the Fish Man Cafe. Madame Charlie's fortune-telling house. Kaimi. Madame Charlie, the owner, looked anxiously at the Straw Hat crew being taken away and asked, you said the Straw Hat crew aren't merfolk traffickers, right? Of course not. Kaimi shook her head and said with a smile, they saved me from the Celestial Dragon 2 years ago. How could people like that be merfolk traffickers? That's right. Madame Charlie nodded slightly. Right, Kaimi, you've worked hard these days. I'll give you a day off. Kaimi was overjoyed. Thank you, madam. After thanking her, she left reluctantly. After Kaimi left, Madame Charlie's expression became serious. Just as Kaimi said, the Straw Hat crew dared to save Kaimi even at the cost of punching a celestial dragon. How could such people be hateful merfolk traffickers? But as a fortune teller, she could always feel a bad feeling around Straw Hat Kid. Should I believe the Straw Hat crew? Or my own intuition? While thinking, Madame Charlie's eyes wandered. She inadvertently looked at the fortune-telling ball that had not been used for many years. Maybe. That's the meaning of fortune-telling. Dragon Palace City, the banquet is coming to an end. Not long ago, a soldier came to report that the Straw Hat crew had been arrested. They are being escorted to the Dragon Palace prison. Lord Cam. Kaji asked in a low voice, are we really not going to take this opportunity to kill Straw Hat Kid? Monet also leaned over and asked the same question. She was now a little confused by Cam's operation. That Wang Lufei beat her new sister Eula so badly. Her stomach was directly broken. Her husband chased after him all the way, why didn't he kill him? Sigh. Cam sighed. It's not that he doesn't want to kill him now, it's that Wang Lufei has an invincible buff now. These people are not opponents at all. If he really fights hard, 80% of his group will die. Cam is convinced of this. Could it be that the last time he verbally angered Luffy and temporarily Jia Chu that state, he would have Jie Pai? Now he can only follow the plot. In a few days, Wang Lufei will fight Zephyr, and then use up the invincible buff. When the time comes, Wang Lufei die. Thinking in his heart, Cam asked, Kaji, do you still have the memory of encircling world back then? Kaji's expression stagnated, and he truthfully said, I don't remember. Kizaru and the others said that I was punched away by Luffy, but that's not the case. Cam thought for a while and then said, in fact, I suppressed him for a long time, but it was suddenly reversed. I can't tell you too much, but you just need to know that Wang Lufei's fruit is very special. When the user encounters a life and death crisis, he will jump out to protect his master and explode with considerable power. And the reason why you have memory loss is probably because that kind of existence tampered with your memories. Boom. Hearing this, Kaji only felt a thunderclap in his ears. His expression suddenly changed. Tampering with memories. As early as a few months ago, he suspected that his party had their memories tampered with. It was only later that Kizaru guaranteed it, and this suspicion was dropped. Now that Cam mentioned it again, it was obvious that he was really tampered with memories at that time. Being able to tamper with memories silently behind Kizaru's back. The strength of that terrifying existence must be very strong. Kaji bowed slightly and said, understood, Lord Cam. Monet. Cam said to Monet again, I don't think I'm a good person. But if anyone dares to touch my woman, I will never die with him. I understand. Monet nodded. Cam also nodded. Since Wang Lufei can't be killed temporarily, then the best result is of course to lock him up. He didn't want Wang Lufei to stand up and be a hero when Hody attacked. You must know that the Straw Hat crew was wronged in the matter of luring merfolk. If they prove their innocence and then get the title of hero, how can that be? After all, the Straw Hat crew is famous for being nosy. On the other side, on the way to the Royal Palace prison. Hiss. So fragrant. Luffy stopped and took a long breath. It smells like delicious food. Suddenly overjoyed, he glanced at the soldiers leading the way in front, and then glanced at Zoro and Nami, and started Dachi Xiao Suan Pan in his heart. If I'm the only one missing, I shouldn't be discovered, right? I definitely won't be discovered. Thinking like this in his heart. Immediately, he left the main force at a corner. Following the smell, he went in the direction of the food. In the end, he stopped in front of a huge black building. Luffy. Scratching his head with a look of astonishment. Strange. Why are there so many weapons inserted here? Without thinking too much, he went straight in. The smell of delicious food came from inside. It was very dark inside the hard shell tower. It was so dark that you couldn't see your fingers without turning on the lights. Luffy was groping for food, but was suddenly stopped by something. This feeling. Out of curiosity, he pinched the ground under his feet and exclaimed, what soft ground. Then he jumped high again. Fun, so much fun. Shirahoshi. The whole person trembled. Human. A human is on her stomach, pinching hard. Jumping hard. Shirahoshi cursed secretly in her heart, but she didn't dare to make a sound and held her breath. Dividing line. Suddenly, Shirahoshi exclaimed. She grabbed Luffy, who wanted to get closer, and threw him heavily on the ground. Then Guzu Sai Bang. Help. On the other side. Banquet hall. Useless. Useless. Really useless. King Neptune's lungs are about to explode. In such a short distance, the Straw Hat crew's captain disappeared, fled in fear of crime. Why are his Dragon Palace soldiers so useless? King Neptune, it's okay. Left Minister comforted him, and then looked at the Straw Hat crew with a sneer. It seems that your captain fled in fear of crime and abandoned you. Nonsense. Chopper was in tears, his eyes firm. Luffy will not abandon us. But he was a little panicked in his heart. We agreed to squat in prison together. Why did Luffy disappear? The other Straw Hat crew members were extremely calm. Their captain would abandon his companions. Unless the sun rises from the west. No need to think about it, he probably smelled the smell of food and slipped away. This kind of thing is not once or twice. It's just that this note is really bad and easily misunderstood. Chapter 66. Luffy tries to molest Shirahoshi. Neptune is furious. This catfish minister. Robin raised an eyebrow and said, "The captain isn't here, but that doesn't seem to prevent you from verifying our innocence, right?" The left minister's face darkened. "You bunch of pirates, still trying to argue." He already believed that the Straw Hat crew were merfolk traffickers, so how could he give the Straw Hat crew a good look? As he spoke, he was about to slap Robin twice. Ha! But Robin slapped him back. "You deserve it." At the same time, Frankie set up the cannon. "If you're going to be so unreasonable, then what if we just become villains for no reason?" That's right. Sanji also spoke angrily. They actually wanted to slap Robin. Brooke's expression was cold. "If you really want to fight, we're happy to oblige." Zoro, biting on Wado Ikimonji. "At worst, we'll just rob this Ryugu and not have to worry about being chased by the navy." Usopp and Nami also took out their weapons, looking determined. They hadn't done anything to abduct merfolk. The reason they were in jail was to effectively avoid being chased by the navy and not involve Kaimi. It was a win-win situation. But that didn't mean they would let anyone bully them. Hee hee. The left minister still sneered. "As expected, you are vicious merfolk traffickers. You've exposed your true nature now. King Neptune. There must be some misunderstanding." Jinbei scratched his head, his expression unsightly. How did things turn out like this without him paying attention? Originally, he planned to go back and personally prove the Straw Hat crew's innocence. But Luffy was gone, fled in fear of punishment. Ah! Just then, a scream came from the distance. Followed by a loud cry. Hiss. Hearing this scream, the expressions of everyone in the hall changed drastically. Not good. Shirahoshi princess is in danger. Ignoring everything else, they ran towards the hard shell tower. Could Luffy be over there? After thinking for a while, the Straw Hat crew also followed the crowd. Although the left minister had been oppressing them, King Neptune hadn't expressed his position. They didn't want Luffy to cause any more trouble. Hiss. Cam in the corner was also confused. It can't be that coincidental, right? In the original plot, Luffy was invited to a banquet and accidentally entered the hard shell tower, thus establishing a connection with Shirahoshi. Now, instead of being invited, he was being escorted. And he still got entangled with Shirahoshi. Could this be fate? Cam felt a bit uncomfortable and said, "Let's go take a look too." The distance between the banquet hall and the hard shell tower wasn't far. The crowd quickly arrived with their troops. They saw Shirahoshi crying loudly, tightly grabbing a figure wearing a straw hat. Then, knock knock knock. She knocked hard. But unfortunately, Shirahoshi didn't have haki yet, so she couldn't cause any damage to Luffy. Hiss. Seeing his daughter so Biao Han, Neptune was stunned. "Shirahoshi, what are you?" Woo. Shirahoshi narrowed her eyes and saw that her father was here. The fear in her heart dissipated like a deflated ball. Then, she sobbed and threw Wang Luffy away, bursting into tears again. "Woo woo woo, father, father." Pointing at Wang Luffy. "Quick, catch him. He's a bad guy who came to take my life." His heart was filled with anger. He had some understanding of the Straw Hat crew, and with Jinbei's evaluation of them. He didn't really believe that the Straw Hat crew were merfolk traffickers. But now that he thought about it, they had surrendered without any resistance. Maybe they were aiming for Shirahoshi from the beginning. To kidnap Shirahoshi. Before he could continue thinking, he heard Shirahoshi continue to cry. "Woo woo woo, he's also a pervert, he wanted to molest me." She cried even louder. "What?" Instantly, Neptune's face was incredulous, his mouth open wide enough to fit a pot. "What?" The ministers who had come together were also wide-eyed upon hearing this. Their faces were full of disbelief. In an instant, an unspeakable feeling of anger surged like a tide. "You must know that Shirahoshi is the princess of the Ryugu kingdom. Representing a country. If the princess is molested and bullied, it's a loss of face for the entire country. As Ryugu ministers, how could they tolerate such a thing? Damn Straw Hat Kid." The ministers were all red-eyed, gnashing their teeth, and filled with indignation. They couldn't wait to go up and bite Luffy to death. But they didn't act. Because Neptune was here, it wasn't their turn to take charge of these matters. King Neptune. At this time, the left minister said coldly, Please uphold justice for the princess. Neptune heard this and came back to his senses. Straw Hat Kid. His eyes widened with anger. You actually had designs on my beloved daughter. Waving the trident in his hand, he ordered the soldiers, everyone, go and catch him. King Neptune. Isn't there some misunderstanding here? At the critical moment, Jinbei stepped forward and advised. He didn't believe that Luffy would want to take Shirahoshi's life or molest Shirahoshi. Back then, there were so many beauties in Amazon Lily, but he didn't have those thoughts. How could it be possible now? It couldn't be because Shirahoshi was bigger, right? That's right. The Straw Hat crew stepped forward and argued. This is just your daughter's word. Do you want to slander Luffy based on this? Their faces were full of anger. They were sure that Luffy absolutely didn't have those kinds of thoughts. Because he was purely a blockhead. This was definitely slander. Luffy. Usopp stepped forward quickly and pulled Luffy out. Luffy, quickly tell us what you just did, we can't be misunderstood anymore. Yes, yes. The Straw Hat crew nodded in agreement. They were inexplicably treated as merfolk traffickers, and they were already holding back a breath. Although they were unhappy, they were indeed responsible. After all, Calibu came to Fish Man Island on their ship. But now they were being slandered for no reason. Saying that Luffy wanted their princess's life, saying that he wanted to be rude to the princess. This was simply outrageous to the extreme. Straw Hat Kid. Neptune calmed down a little and said in a deep voice, tell me the truth about what happened just now. He was very angry. But at this time, he hoped even more that this was a misunderstanding. It's not what you think. Luffy waved his hand quickly. He also knew that there seemed to be some misunderstanding here, so he said truthfully, I was hungry just now and smelled the scent of food here, so I sneaked in. I definitely didn't want to take that crybaby's life. As he said this, Luffy pointed to the large food on the table. Neptune looked at Shirahoshi and asked, he really didn't attack you? Shirahoshi nodded. He really didn't attack me. But. See. Before Shirahoshi could continue, Usopp said angrily, is this how you fish man slander people? We are clearly not merfolk traffickers, but you slander us as merfolk traffickers. Again, he raised his head, looking arrogant, and pointed at Neptune angrily. Be sensible and quickly bring up delicious food and drink to apologize to this grandpa. Chapter 67. After eating stealthily, give money. Who? Facing the arrogant Usopp, Neptune's expression relaxed, and he let out a long breath. He would rather this be a misunderstanding. Just as he was about to speak, someone else beat him to it. Luffy picked his nose and continued, then I inexplicably arrived at a messy place. It was very fun to bounce around there. I wanted to go forward, but this crybaby grabbed me and threw me on the ground. He looked like a victim. Messy. Bouncy. Hiss. Could it be? Neptune's pupils shrank, and his head snapped towards Shirahoshi with a dwang sound. He wanted confirmation. Woo. Shirahoshi heard the gaze, and sobbed. Tears the size of beans spurted out like a fire hydrant. Woo woo woo, father, father. Gaia. At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with anger. Shirahoshi was already crying like this, coupled with what Straw Hat Kid had just said. What else was there to not understand? Straw Hat Kid. At this moment, Neptune was completely enraged. Straw Hat Kid. You shameless villain. I will definitely tear you into pieces. I will castrate you and feed your brothers to the fish. Quote. The ministers were also the same. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they roared out loud with bared teeth. Then, tap tap tap, they strode forward. From the 80-year-old merfolk to the little merfolk who came to the banquet, all raised their weapons. They were ready to fight at any moment. Luffy. What nonsense are you talking about? At the same time, Usopp immediately became anxious. He shook Luffy's shoulders vigorously. You were just kidding, right? You must have been lying just now, right? Usopp. Luffy pushed Usopp away and said amusingly, you're the one who likes to lie, right? I'm telling the truth. Then, he looked at the fish man ministers who were on guard with some surprise and said, but there's nothing wrong with that, right? Even if I came to steal food, I can just give you money afterwards, is there a need to fight? Boom. What? Steal food. And give money. What did he take Shirahoshi princess for? Luffy was talking about food, but in this situation, everyone thought of something else. This is really too much. Go, capture Straw Hat Kid. Neptune raised his trident and ordered. Instantly, hundreds of merfolk in Hard Shell Tower were dispatched. That posture was terrifying. Damn it. You're going too far. Seeing this, Luffy immediately became unhappy. He raised a fist as big as a sandbag. Gum Gum Gatling. Boom. Instantly. Hundreds of attacking merfolk were knocked down. They lost their fighting power in an instant. Hiss. Left Minister was dumbfounded, then realized, no wonder he can seduce so many merfolk. This kind of strength. Damn it. Let this prince meet you. Shark Star's eyes were bloodshot, and he raised his trident and rushed towards Luffy. Bang. Luffy used another move, directly blasting Shark Star away, and angrily said, "You're going too far." Hearing this, everyone present gritted their teeth. Going too far. Isn't it you, Straw Hat Kid, who's going too far? Seducing a large number of merfolk isn't enough, you even have designs on Shirahoshi Princess. He is. Just then, Shirahoshi's pupils shrank. Only now did she realize that the bad guy who wanted to molest her was the pirate that Lord Kam was here to capture. Without thinking much, she looked around the field. Seeing Kam in the corner, she was immediately overjoyed. Lord Kam, the pirate you want to catch is there. Saying that, she clenched her big hand and grabbed Wang Lufei. Kam was immediately dumbfounded. He just wanted to watch the show, why are you calling me? If Wang Lufei opens his buff early, wouldn't I be screwed? But after thinking about it, he could understand that Shirahoshi didn't have that many thoughts. She purely wanted to help him. Kam politely refused. I have promised First Prince and Jinbei that one thing is one thing, and I will not interfere in this matter for the time being. Kam didn't intend to take action, but that didn't mean Wang Lufei wouldn't. As Shirahoshi's voice fell, Wang Lufei immediately recognized Kam. It's you. Why are you here? He glared at Kam, and a violent aura spread over Luffy's body. He is a celestial dragon. He is the same kind who wanted to buy Kaimi. Why is this kind of bad egg in Dragon Palace City like a guest? What are these fish man thinking? He looked at the 100 or so fish man surrounding him with resentment and asked, don't you know his identity? They are bad people, they are. Mingmei flashed forward and slapped him. Luffy wailed while hugging his head. Ow, it hurts so much. You. Mingmei slapped him again. Luffy. He stopped talking instantly. Damn, this woman. Seeing this scene, everyone present was shocked. So many people were present, and even First Prince was no match for Straw Hat Kid, but he was slapped into submission by this woman. No wonder she was able to defeat the powerful Vanderdecken X. Even Kam was slightly surprised. He thought that this woman had definitely hidden her strength before. Afterwards, Mingmei looked at Neptune with a slightly apologetic expression. Kam and I have special identities and must hide them for the time being. I understand. Neptune nodded slightly. In fact, he had known this for a long time. Kaji, as a Marineford Vice Admiral, had always been respectful to this woman and Kam. With a little thought, he could deduce that the identities of the two were extremely noble. At least they would be princes or princesses of some great country. He didn't need to know too much, he just needed to know that they helped his daughter regain her freedom. Cough cough. At this time, Kam coughed and stepped forward. Now that he had been recognized, he would just add fuel to the fire. After all, he was going to intervene when Wang Lufei was being condemned by everyone. You ask me why I'm here. Kam said playfully, because I'm a bad guy. Luffy was shocked. Was he directly admitting it? The fish men present were also shocked. Isn't this Kam a navy? How did he become a bad guy? Never mind. He is the princess's benefactor. Even if Kam was a heinous criminal, they, Fishman Island, would protect him. Kam said unhurriedly, smiling, I heard that the captain of the flying pirates has been persistently pursuing Shirahoshi Princess for a full 10 years. Such an affectionate man. Originally, there would be results in the near future. But I'm a bad guy. I can't stand it, so I killed that captain. Chapter 68. Drive the Straw Hat Pirates out of Fishman Island. Also, before I came, I snatched food from the mouth of a giant octopus. I'm a bad person. That's why I couldn't stand it, so I snatched its food. Also, I besieged the Straw Hat Pirates, who are all good people. And I almost killed their captain. I myself think I'm a heinous villain. TCH. Hearing Kam's words, the minister's present suddenly realized. So you're a pirate. When the Navy beats you up, you say the Navy is bad. But it seems to make sense. At this time, Kam withdrew his smile, his expression suddenly turning cold. Then who are you people? As everyone knows, the Straw Hat crew is extremely vicious. They are major wanted criminals with a total bounty exceeding 700 million belly. Not to mention the distant past, let's talk about the recent events. How many Marines on Shambles Islands lost their lives because of you to stop you from continuing to do evil at sea? Keep talking. The advantage is on my side. Just slander Luffy and distort the truth. No, that's not right. Distort the truth my ass. As long as you've actually been in this world, you'll know that the pirate battles described in Pirate King all have a manga-colored filter. Pirates and Navy fighting without anyone dying. That's a joke. Top War, a battle of tens of thousands of people. In the end, only Whitebeard and Ace died. Anyone with a brain knows that's impossible. That's not true. Luffy howled, then righteously said, I'm a pirate. It's a matter of course for pirates to kill Marines. Okay. Let's just say it's a matter of course for pirates to kill Marines. Kam's expression turned stern. Then why did you kill ordinary people? Don't tell me you've forgotten. Kam suppressed the urge to go up and slap Luffy to death. The woman who had her food snatched away by your chef a few days ago almost died because of you, with 2 lives lost. Luffy was speechless, belatedly realizing. He also understood that the woman with the celestial dragon aura that day was just an ordinary woman. Her belly had a celestial dragon aura. Most likely she was pregnant. Tisk tisk tisk, so Straw Hat Kid is so ferocious. Although pirates are ferocious, most pirates only rob money. Only a few pirates will kill civilians. No wonder. This kind of cruel pirate must be a merfolk trafficker. This kind of pirate with bad character shouldn't be allowed into Fishman Island. What are the entrance guards doing? Idiot, the Straw Hat crew sneaked in. The ministers present were in an uproar. The gazes towards Wang Lufei changed from anger at the beginning to a bit of disgust. At this time, facing the disgusted gazes of the crowd, as well as the piercing words. Luffy only felt inexplicably irritable in his chest. Something that seemed to belong to him was slowly dissipating. Shut up. Instantly, Luffy roared to the sky, his face suddenly turning ferocious. All of you shut up for me. Kam, however, refused to let go. Then you came to Fish Man Island and started to wantonly capture merfolk. Luffy gritted his teeth. I didn't. Kam continued to speak plausibly. Now you want to do something untoward to Shirahoshi Princess. Luffy was furious. I didn't. Kam. You. Luffy hugged his head and howled in pain. I didn't. I said I didn't. He broke away from Shirahoshi. A thick baleful aura spewed out like a tide. His body was like a beast, rushing straight towards Kam. Luffy. The Straw Hat crew looked at this scene with stunned faces. For some reason, at this moment, their captain suddenly became unfamiliar. They rubbed their eyes in disbelief. Then, in the next instant, this sense of strangeness disappeared. It should have been an illusion just now. At the same time. Vice Admiral Kaji shouted loudly, instantly flashing in front of Kam, facing the charging Luffy. He picked him up. Then smashed him down heavily like a cannonball. Straw Hat Kid, don't push your luck. Saying that, he twisted Wang Lufei's head again. Bang bang bang. Luffy hugged his head in pain. Seeing who made the move, Robin, Nami and others were all shocked. Why is this Marine here? Damn it. If I had known that sleazy Marine was here, I wouldn't have come here. They chose to go to jail to avoid the pursuit of this Vice Admiral. Now. At this time, Neptune said in a deep voice, Vice Admiral Kaji, please stop. We can resolve this matter. They are guests. There is no reason to let guests solve the affairs of their own country. Saying that, he was about to make a move. At this time, the Straw Hat crew also put on a stance of who's afraid of who. For a time, the scene became tense. Enough. Jinbei stopped Neptune. King Neptune, there must be some misunderstanding in this matter. I guarantee with my personality that Luffy is definitely not that kind of person. He also said bluntly. Also, even if the king personally takes action, he is not a match for the Straw Hat crew. I'm also not a match. Neptune's expression froze, somewhat in disbelief. He is a great knight. Jinbei looked at the Straw Hat crew. Straw Hat crew, are you willing to be temporarily detained? Accept the investigation. The Straw Hat crew first looked vigilantly at Kaji, and only after seeing that the latter looked disinterested did they open their mouths and say, the innocent are innocent. Jinbei then looked at Neptune. I will guard them. I will never let them escape without authorization. I will personally go with First Prince to investigate the identity of that mud monster. In fact, the most serious thing is the merfolk trafficking matter. As long as it is confirmed that the Straw Hat crew is not a merfolk trafficker, all the contradictions will be resolved. As for the suspected molestation of Shirahoshi, Neptune wouldn't spread this matter unless he was stupid. Moreover, it's still that sentence. He, Jinbei, simply doesn't believe that Luffy would do something untoward to Shirahoshi. Luffy is just a pure blockhead. But, Neptune felt really aggrieved in his heart. His own daughter was almost taken advantage of, and he could only swallow it in his stomach. But there was no way, since even Jinbei said that he was not a match for the Straw Hat crew, then he really was not a match. The majesty of the great knight cannot be lost. Neptune squeezed out a smile with difficulty and said, okay, then this matter will be. Report, report, report. Just at this time, a soldier came running. Neptune asked, what's the matter? Fish Man Island, destruction. The soldier looked terrified, so anxious that he couldn't speak. Quick, quick, Straw Hat crew, drive out, drive out. Shark Star took a step forward and patted the soldier's shoulder. Speak slowly, tell me from beginning to end. Hoo. The soldier gasped for breath, and after a long while, he said loudly, reporting to King Neptune, Madame Chiarli has made another prediction. Straw Hat Kid will destroy Fish Man Island in the future. Quickly drive the Straw Hat crew out of Fish Man Island. What? D backquote. It's a bit uncomfortable, although the book is out. But it doesn't give any volume at all. The volume of the bookstore for all 8 days combined has not exceeded 25, which is no different from when it was inside. Alas, obviously the verified data is not bad. Does anyone know how to make a move? Chapter 69. Fierce Battle, Mrs. Charlie's Prophecy. What? Quote. Boom. Quote. These words were like a blockbuster bomb, exploding beside everyone's ears. Madame Chiarli's prediction. Up until now, they have been 100% accurate. King Neptune. Quote. The left minister immediately knelt on the ground, his face filled with resentment. We must not let Straw Hat Kid leave here alive. In the future, he will definitely destroy Fish Man Island. Quote. Clang. Quote. The right minister also knelt on the ground and said loudly, for the sake of Fish Man Island, we cannot let Straw Hat Kid leave here alive. Quote. Clang. Quote. Immediately following, all the ministers present knelt on the ground, their voices loud and clear, for the sake of Fish Man Island, for the sake of those merfolk who have been lured away, please execute Straw Hat Kid. Quote. Huff. Neptune breathed out a long breath. Originally, he didn't quite believe that the Straw Hat crew would lure and capture merfolk. But with Madame Chiarli's prediction, this trust instantly vanished like smoke. They are going to destroy Fish Man Island in the future. Luring and capturing merfolk is probably just a small matter. Straw Hat Kid. Quote. As he said that, he was about to attack. Jinbei once again stopped him, somewhat lacking confidence. King, could this be a misunderstanding? Misunderstanding. Quote. What kind of misunderstanding could there be? Quote. Neptune pushed Jinbei away, his voice somewhat cold. Jinbei, you are also a person of Ryugu Kingdom. I hope you can think for the sake of this country. Quote. Jinbei's expression stagnated, and he didn't quite know what to say. After thinking for a moment, he said again, but King, you are definitely not the Straw Hat crew's opponent. Jinbei. Quote. Neptune's expression was solemn as he said, some things should be done within one's capabilities, but some things must be done. Quote. Jinbei trembled, his voice even softer. He also knew about Madame Chiarli. Her predictions, divinations, were famously accurate. Luffy will destroy Fish Man Island. This matter, basically has no room for doubt. Straw Hat Kid. This king will be your opponent. Quote. Neptune shouted loudly, raising his trident and heavily stabbing it towards Luffy's head. Jung. Quote. Luffy used armament haki and blocked with both hands. Damn it, what's wrong with these guys? Quote. Luffy was extremely annoyed at this moment. Something in his subconscious told him that the fish man were a race that could be absolutely trusted. But what the hell is this now? Straw Hat Kid. Die. Quote. Neptune tightly gripped his trident and stabbed at Luffy again. Tisk. Zoro saw this and stepped forward. He could tell that Luffy didn't seem to want to fight this merfolk, but what time is it now? Luffy. Let me do it. Quote. One sword style aye. Quote. Hiss. Quote. Neptune's expression suddenly changed drastically. He now understood why Jinbei said that he was definitely not the Straw Hat Crew's opponent. Swish. As a blade of light swept over. Neptune only felt his huge body suddenly become light, his entire body seemed to be flying in the air. And that was indeed the case. Hiss. Quote. King Neptune. Quote. Shark Star howled, damn it, everyone attack. Capture Straw Hat Kid. Quote. Shirahoshi looked at Cam with pleading eyes. Cam. Covering his face. Indicating that he had no choice but to attack. But it was also to his liking. He, Cam, liked nothing more than kicking someone when they're down. Wong Luffy. I'm going to kill you. Quote. Cam instantly stepped forward and activated Cuckold's Rage at the same time. He repeatedly struck Luffy's head. Ah. Quote. Luffy cried out. Luffy. Quote. The Straw Hat Crew wanted to save him, but as soon as they walked within 10 meters of Cam, their legs went limp. The kind where they couldn't move. Damn it. Quote. Usopp was shocked. Why is this guy so strange? Is he a devil fruit user? Quote. Nami thought for a moment and said, Brook. Go save Luffy. Quote. During the breakout a few days ago, it seemed that only Brook was unaffected. Brook nodded. Okay. Quote. Nami. Sanji, you cover us. Zoro, you go and cut open the gate. We have to escape quickly. Quote. Nami really wanted to cry at this moment. What kind of things have they encountered? It's already enough that they're being slandered. They're even using prophecies to pressure people. Kill. Kill. Quote. We can't let Straw Hat Kid escape. Quote. Kill. Kill. Quote. After learning that the Straw Hat Crew would destroy Fish Man Island in the future, everyone on the field was filled with righteous indignation. They waved the weapons in their hands and smashed them towards the Straw Hat Crew's heads. Jung jung jung. Quote. Clang clang clang. Quote. Successive sounds of metal collisions rose and fell. Pa ji. Quote. Even the usually crybaby Shirahoshi calmed down. She aimed accurately and waved her big hand at the Straw Hat Crew. Her huge size gave her a natural advantage in terms of offense. One slap was guaranteed. With Cam taking the lead in the attack, the situation became subtle. The Ryugu ministers, who were originally at an absolute disadvantage, slowly gained momentum. Of course, Cam held back. He was really afraid of accidentally triggering Wong Luffy's invincible buff. If that happened, his group would be finished. Ah. Damn it. Damn it. Quote. Usopp was close to despair. I told you we shouldn't have come to jail. What kind of damn idea was this? Quote. Robin. The others. Their faces were a little ugly. Isn't this a typical case of hindsight? Who knew it would turn out like this before we came? But no one refuted it, because that was the reality. Zoro. Quote. Nami shouted, haven't you cut open the gate yet? Quote. One sword style aye. Quote. Boom. The huge metal wall was actually cut in half. Zoro sheathed his sword. You guys come over here quickly. Quote. Ah. Zoro, you directionally challenged bastard. Quote. Usopp looked in the direction of the sound, his expression suddenly ferocious, and he shouted, the gate is over there. Quote. His group was breaking out in the direction of the gate, but Zoro inexplicably ran in the opposite direction and broke through the wall. That's good. Quote. Robin was delighted. There's no one guarding that, let's run. Quote. Hearing this, the Straw Hat Crew's eyes lit up. They immediately changed direction. Towards the hole in the wall. Ah. Quote. The Ryugu ministers gritted their teeth, Straw Hat Kid is going to escape. Quote. We won't let you escape. Quote. The three princes stepped forward, wanting to block the Straw Hat Crew's path. But they had obviously overestimated their strength. They were directly blasted away with one punch. Damn it. Quote. Neptune gritted his teeth and looked at Cam. He saw that the latter looked weak. Obviously, the ability he had just used to instantly make attacks disappear was quite exhausting. He immediately dismissed the idea of asking Cam to continue attacking. Damn it. Is there no one else who can stop the Straw Hat crew? Quote. Shark Star howled, then immediately froze. Besides Cam and the four of them, wasn't there another strong person here? Shark Star shouted. Jinbei. Quote. Ah, this. Jinbei was immediately stunned. He thought to himself, what does your fight have to do with me? Shark Star said plausibly, Jinbei, you are a person of Ryugu Kingdom. And the former captain of the Ryugu Guard. I know you believe in Straw Hat Kid, but don't you believe in Madame Xiarli's prediction? Quote. Chapter 70 King Luffy's Wanted Order Ryugu version. Jinbei was momentarily speechless. He was stunned for a moment. Tap tap tap. Jinbei's momentary lapse gave the Straw Hat crew an opportunity. They broke through and immediately disappeared. Thump. Seeing the Straw Hat crew really escape, the Ryugu ministers' bodies went limp. Is it over? What if Fish Man Island is really destroyed in the future? Then their eyes simultaneously glared at Jinbei. It's all this guy's fault. He's clearly a fish man, but he didn't do anything. Neptune. He also felt bad inside. But he didn't show it. He expressed his gratitude to the four of Lord Cam who had just taken action. I'm sorry. Lord Cam pretended to look weak and said, my ability consumes a lot of stamina, I couldn't stop the Straw Hat crew. It's nothing like that. King Neptune shook his head and said, you are guests, you shouldn't have taken action in this matter in the first place. No, the Straw Hat crew are my target on this trip. Lord Cam waved his hand politely, then knowingly asked, but that prophecy? Neptune wasn't surprised at all. Because of a prophecy, their attitude towards the Straw Hat crew immediately changed. Anyone would have doubts. So he explained with a smile, Madame Xiarli is a fortune teller. Her predictions are quite accurate. She predicted the Great Pirate Era, predicted the Top War, and also predicted Whitebeard's death, and so on. So far, the accuracy rate of her predictions is 100%. But his expression couldn't hide his disappointment and dimness. King Neptune, have you heard of man conquering nature? Lord Cam pondered for a while, then said with a serious face, I believe the future can be changed. Moreover, that's just a prophecy. Hearing this, Neptune was immediately shocked. He immediately laughed out loud. That's right, that's right. Seeing Neptune's thoughts become clear. Lord Cam didn't plan to stay any longer, the banquet was over. It was time to leave. Before leaving, Lord Cam stepped forward. He handed a Navy-style alarm phone bug to Shirahoshi, and said, Shirahoshi Princess, to prevent Straw Hat Kid from making a surprise attack. Here is this alarm phone bug for you. Shirahoshi asked in surprise, can I see Lord Cam by using this? Yes. Lord Cam waved his hand casually without looking back. Shirahoshi looked at Lord Cam's leaving figure. After a moment of silence, she carefully held the phone bug in her palm, and a strange feeling arose in her heart. Then she smiled knowingly. Yes. Seeing this scene, Prince Flipped Car Star frowned a little and said, why do I think my sister's eyes are not right? Prince Crown Star said with some dissatisfaction, that Lord Cam is really good at playing tricks. Isn't this equivalent to leaving a phone number? Hiss. Hearing this, Prince Flipped Car Star immediately became a little dissatisfied. Although that Lord Cam is Shirahoshi's benefactor, he is a human. How can they be? What if he is a human? First Prince Shark Star waved his hand and said, have you forgotten Mother's wish? He continued, moreover, I don't think Lord Cam has that idea. That phone bug is a Navy-style alarm phone bug. Who leaves a phone number with this thing? Prince Crown Star was immediately speechless. This is giving him a chance, but he doesn't use it. Shark Star shook his head. Isn't this even better? It proves that Lord Cam is not deliberately approaching Shirahoshi because he is greedy for Shirahoshi's beauty. That. Prince Flipped Car Star scratched his head. Is it possible that Lord Cam is playing hard to get? Shark Star and Prince Crown Star were immediately shocked. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. At the same time, King Neptune sighed after seeing this scene. He had a feeling that his daughter was growing up and couldn't be kept. There was also a feeling that his daughter had been abducted. You must know that Shirahoshi and Lord Cam had only known each other for less than 3 days. However, he, Neptune, couldn't help but understand. Shirahoshi had been locked in the hard-shell tower alone for a full 10 years. She only had a silent pet shark to accompany her all day long. This kind of loneliness. It's like walking alone in an endless desert. There are no people, no end, no sound. 10 years passed by like this. At this moment, someone appeared. Cough, cough, cough. Retracting his thoughts, Neptune coughed a few times. The three princes instantly stopped gossiping and asked, Father, is there something wrong? Although Madame Chiarli's predictions are very accurate, they are only predictions. As long as it hasn't happened yet, there is a possibility of preventing it. King Neptune nodded and said, Shark Star. Give the order to fully pursue and issue wanted posters for the Straw Hat crew. Also, if you have the ability, try your best to kill him. Although our Fish Man Island welcomes pirates from all walks of life. But Straw Hat Kid is an exception. If you don't have the ability, at least drive him out of the country. He must never enter Fish Man Island again. We must not let the predicted things happen. Yes. Shark Star nodded. Comma comma. Comma comma. Before long. 100,000 wanted posters of Wang Lufei were printed. It is worth mentioning, Ryugu Kingdom, Fish Man Island, is very special. It is a member country of the world government, but it is a kingdom protected by pirates. Therefore, the wanted posters issued by the General Navy, world government, have a very low presence on Fish Man Island. Basically, no one will deliberately pay attention to them. However, the wanted posters forwarded by the Ryugu royal family are completely different, refer to Vanderdecken X. Monkey D. Luffy. The land bounty is as high as 400 million belly. He is full of evil deeds. To this day, he has abducted a large number of merfolk. He is extremely lustful and wants to do something wrong to Shirahoshi princess. He was caught on the spot by the first prince. He is fierce and brutal. According to the prediction of fortune teller Madame Chiarli, he will destroy Fish Man Island in the future. Please, residents of Fish Man Island, if you see this person, please immediately report it to the local soldiers. There is a reward for reporting. Note, this person is ferocious, so do not fight him. Comma. On the other side, knowing the progress of the plot, Lord Cam came to the vicinity of Gyeongcord Plaza early. Thinking of playing a hero by pinching the time. Of course. Lord Cam is not very interested in being a hero, what he really wants to do is to destroy Wang Lufei's luck. Although it is very little. But when Luffy was being criticized by the ministers, Lord Cam could clearly feel something that should have belonged to Wang Lufei gradually dissipating. Obviously, that is luck. Boom. At this moment, between the distant sky and earth, a mysterious and incomparably gentle energy gushed out. Luck. Is that where Wang Lufei is? What's going on? Lord Cam was extremely astonished. What is Wang Lufei doing again? Boom. At the same time, only a commotion was heard from Gyeongcord Plaza. Lord Cam frowned, called Kaji over, and asked, What's going on over there? Boss. Kaji said with an excited face, Straw Hat Kid has been wanted all over the island. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 71 Wanted. Luffy's reputation is ruined. Kaji took out Wang Lufei's Dragon Palace version of the wanted warrant as he spoke. So that's how it is. Cam took it and looked at it, instantly understanding. Now, it wasn't just the ministers of Ryugu, more and more fish man would be full of hostility towards Luffy because of this warrant. Naturally, his reputation would become tarnished, and his luck would continue to drain away. Moreover, he predicted that this was just the beginning. Jia Jia Jia. Wang Lufei. Wait, in a few days, you will die for me. Cam laughed secretly in his heart. It wouldn't be long before Wang Lufei's invincible buff would be used in the battle with Zephyr, coupled with the massive luck he lost today. When the time came to intercept Wang Lufei at Punk Hazard, he wouldn't know how to lose. But he quickly frowned again. Too much of anything is bad. He clearly knew that the Straw Hat crew were not real merfolk traffickers. The real merfolk trafficker was Calibu. And he would soon be exposed. When the truth came out, the hostility towards Straw Hat Kid for being a merfolk trafficker would definitely decrease. There might even be a sense of guilt because of this huge misunderstanding. I hope Madame Chiarli's prediction is more significant than I imagined. If it works, I will reward her afterwards. As soon as Straw Hat Kid's wanted warrant was issued, Fishman Island was in an uproar. Ah, Straw Hat Kid, what a Straw Hat Kid. He looks decent, but who would have thought he was a merfolk trafficker? Damn, he even intended to do something untoward to Shirahoshi Princess. Shirahoshi Princess only regained her freedom a few days ago. Now here comes Vanderdecken II. Hiss. According to Madame Chiarli's prediction, he will destroy Fishman Island in the future. Some fishmen were originally calm, but after seeing this, they couldn't calm down at all. For most fishmen, Madame Chiarli's predictions were almost certain to happen. Destroy Fishman Island. Wouldn't that be destroying their home? I finally understand why the king wants to issue a large-scale warrant for Straw Hat Kid. He even abandoned his reputation and revealed the princess's attack. Straw Hat Kid. This child must not be left alive. This news must be made known to all fishmen. Even those overseas must be notified. If we see the Straw Hat crew in the future, we will beat them every time. That's right. Fishman Island was very big. Even bigger than the depiction in the comics. Fishman Island had as many as 5 million residents. No matter how many wanted warrants were issued, it would be difficult for Wang Lufei's wanted news to be known to everyone at once. But the safety of Fishman Island was at stake. The fishmen were united, spreading the word. Some even spontaneously organized teams to patrol every corner of Fishman Island. They just wanted to find this Straw Hat Kid who would destroy Fishman Island in the future. Some merchants who couldn't contribute changed the slogans at the entrance of their shops. Straw Hat crew and dogs are not allowed to enter. Dog. Woof woof woof. Some merchants were careful. They changed the slogan to Straw Hat Kid and dogs are not allowed to enter. This would lure other members of the Straw Hat crew to appear, making it more likely to find Straw Hat Kid. Dog. Woof woof woof. Fishman Island, under a hidden reef. Ah. Straw Hat Kid. Straw Hat Kid. I curse your grandpa, I curse your great-grandpa, I curse. Calibu cursed Luffy's ancestors for 18 generations. He had already lured hundreds of merfolk, and if they were all sold, their value would exceed the bounty of 4 emperors. He originally planned to stop today, leave Fishman Island, and then live a life of carefree eating and drinking. As a result, he noticed something was wrong as soon as he walked on the road. Large numbers of armed Fishman soldiers were lined up, as if they were looking for something. He was shocked at the time and thought they were coming to arrest him. He turned tail and ran. But after inquiring, he learned about the island-wide warrant for Luffy. Damn Straw Hat Kid. Calibu howled repeatedly. Now there are so many guards on the border, how can I get out and sell the merfolk? Maybe. A sudden shock in his heart, I will lose my life. Ah. What should I do? Realizing this possibility, Calibu became even more anxious. Scratching his ears and cheeks. Jumping up and down in a hurry. After a strong ideological struggle. In the end, he made a decision that violated his ancestors. Fishman Cafe. Madame Chiarli was not surprised at all to learn that the Straw Hat crew was wanted. She was surprised that this Straw Hat Kid exposed his nature in advance. Luring a large number of merfolk was not enough. He even had designs on Shirahoshi Princess. Boss. Kaime's chest heaved violently, unable to believe this was true. Could this be a misunderstanding? Kaime, you know, even if other things might be a misunderstanding. But my divination. Chiarli shook her head. She always hoped that her predictions were false. But which time was an exception? Kaime was speechless for a moment. That's right. Other things might still be a misunderstanding, but the boss's divination can't be fake at all. After all, the person involved is right here. After a long silence, she said stubbornly, in short. I don't believe Luffy would do such a thing. Unless I see it with my own eyes. As you wish. Chiarli didn't make things difficult for Kaime. After all, Kaime was rescued by the Straw Hat crew. At this time, Fishman Street. New Fishman pirates. Hody Jones also knew about the island-wide warrant for Straw Hat Kid. Not only that, he had spies inside Dragon Palace City, and he knew even more. Ja ha ha ha. Hody laughed loudly. This is really God helping me. The Straw Hat crew fought with the Dragon Palace guards in Dragon Palace City. Now the whole country is searching for Straw Hat Kid. In this way, Dragon Palace City will definitely be empty, and my chance to seize Ryugu Kingdom is even greater. It's a pity. Then he frowned again. That idiot Decken is dead, otherwise. Now that Vander Decken is dead. He had no way to use Vander Decken IX's Devil Fruit to fly directly to Dragon Palace City. Then, Hody boss. When will we occupy Dragon Palace City? The cadres were eager to try, looking very excited. Proceed according to plan. This afternoon, contact the Dragon Palace Insider. Open the city gate. Then occupy Dragon Palace. Yes. The subordinates shouted in unison. Chapter 72 Hody Jones. That day, in the afternoon. Ryugu Royal Palace. Hody successfully carried out his coup with little resistance. Jayahahaha. It went even smoother than I thought. Looking at the Neptune family, who were already tightly bound, Hody burst out laughing. Actually, Straw Hat Kid deserves some credit for making things so smooth. The officers also laughed heartily, giving Straw Hat Kid extremely high praise. If Straw Hat Kid hadn't fought with the Ryugu people in the morning, causing most of the Ryugu guards to be injured, they would never have been able to capture Neptune so easily, even with their internal support in the royal palace. This was originally a joke, but these words had a different meaning in the ears of Neptune and Shirahoshi. Straw Hat Kid actually participated in the coup. The two of them gasped in unison, cursing Straw Hat Luffy as despicable in their hearts. Big brother Hody, I found something good. Just then, a subordinate ran in excitedly. Hody was immediately displeased. He thought to himself that this subordinate had no manners. He grabbed the subordinate's neck and said in a deep voice, "You better really have good news." Big brother Hody. The subordinate coughed and said, "I found a letter from the celestial dragon." Then he raised the exquisitely sealed letter in his hand. Hody was immediately shocked, released his hand, and immediately snatched it away. Neptune looked grim, staring fiercely at Hody, and roared, "Hody Jones, what do you want to do?" Woo woo woo. Shirahoshi's tears flowed like a river. He's called Hody Jones. He is the murderer who killed my mother. Not only did he kill my mother, but now he wants to destroy her wish too. Jayahahaha. Hody laughed wildly, wanting to give Neptune and Shirahoshi a surprise. Report. Big brother Hody. Just then, another subordinate ran in excitedly, interrupting him. Hody was very angry. He grabbed the subordinate. What's the matter? Big brother Hody, I found the signed letters. The people who signed the letters are all scumbags who want to get along with humans. The subordinate said with excitement on his face. Hody was taken aback, and then overjoyed. This is really God helping me. With this, I don't have to identify the traitors one by one. Hody. Hearing this, Neptune struggled violently. I will not allow you to kill the citizens. Bang bang bang. Huge cracks appeared in the steel cable. It was almost broken. Only a bang was heard. Hody punched him, and the great force on the fist instantly extinguished Neptune's Daotian flames. Hody sneered. Neptune, you are old. You no longer have the glory of the great knight. Didn't you ask me what I want to do? I will tell you now. Hody clenched his fist, looking like he wanted everything, and said loudly, I want to become the king of the fish man. A new king has a new atmosphere. The fish man I lead will not need to work hand in hand with humans. Humans, this kind of inferior creature, only deserves to be our fish man's slaves. Hody waved his arm, looking at the people present with the posture of a leader, and said in a loud voice, I, Hody Jones, will lead everyone to a brighter future. I will lead our fish man to rule the world. I will turn all humans into slaves. We fish man are the noblest race in the world. Hody. We will always follow big brother Hody, we fish man are the noblest race. Quote. The officers shouted in unison, and the surrounding subordinates were also excited. You bastard. Neptune's eyes widened with anger. You will destroy the entire fish man like this. Shirahoshi's eyes were filled with tears. You big bad guy, my brothers will not let you succeed. Jayahahaha. Hody was not angry but laughed, and his eyes on Shirahoshi were even more ecstatic. Actually, among you 4 siblings, the one I fear the most is you. Whenever he recalled the scene 10 years ago when Shirahoshi cried and summoned the giant sea kings. Hody's heart couldn't help but tremble. As long as I kill you, no one can stop me. Hody raised his big hand, and the huge grip almost shook the air. He wanted to twist Shirahoshi's neck. Hody, how dare you? Boom. Anxious to save his daughter, Neptune, who had just been away, suddenly burst out with strength. Click. In an instant, the metal chain snapped. Boom. Raising his fist as big as a sandbag, he mustered all his strength and smashed it towards Hody's head. Overestimating yourself. Hody smiled contemptuously, wanting to take it head on. But Neptune suddenly changed direction in a hurry. Shirahoshi. Run. Neptune turned his fist into a palm, firmly grasping the free-flowing sea current. Then he pulled hard. Whoosh. The huge sea current poured out, forming an unstoppable vortex. Father. Father. Shirahoshi burst into tears, riding the vortex, until the shadow of Ryugu was gone from sight. Damn it. I was tricked. The change was too fast, and Hody didn't react for a while. Quick, chase. Quick, chase. We must not let Shirahoshi escape. If there is anything that can threaten his rule in the future, it must be Shirahoshi. He is really afraid that Shirahoshi will bring tens of thousands of sea kings to end him one day. Yes. The subordinates responded in unison, wanting to rush out. If you want to catch up with Shirahoshi, you have to get past me first. Neptune stood at the gate, with the posture of one man guarding the pass, and 10,000 men unable to open it. Boom. Just a sea current directly defeated dozens of subordinates. You are looking for death. Hody took out a pill and swallowed it in one gulp. Boom boom. The majestic power, like a tide, instantly filled his body. So you were the one who stole the addiction pills. Neptune's pupils shrank. Before he could continue to be shocked, a drop of water arrived like a bullet in an instant. Instantly knocked him to the ground. Hody roared, chase me. Never let Shirahoshi escape. Yes. The subordinates responded in unison. 10 minutes later. Hody was furious and sent several subordinates to the west with a water shot. Shirahoshi still escaped. The officers frowned and asked, Big Brother Hody, what should we do now? They also knew that Shirahoshi was a huge threat. Hody, is this your subordinate? Neptune was still sarcastic, obviously very happy about Shirahoshi's escape. When the time comes, my 3 princes will definitely avenge me. I have an idea. After struggling for a while in his heart, Hody saw Neptune and suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Notify the whole island. In a few hours, I will publicly execute the old King Neptune at Gyeongcord Plaza. Hody smiled and said, the change of dynasty. Such a major event should naturally be shared with the people. He looked at Neptune coldly and continued, I don't believe that the 3 princes and the princess will have the heart to watch their father being executed. When the time comes, jayahahaha. Bang! Neptune's heart suddenly trembled. If his 3 children knew that he was going to be executed, they cannot stand by. They will definitely try every means to save him. Wouldn't it be like the Calabash brothers saving Grandpa? Hody. You despicable and shameless bastard. Neptune's eyes were bloodshot and he cursed. If you have the guts, kill me now. Drag him down. Just leave him a breath. Hody was too lazy to pay attention to Neptune. Only a fool would be fooled by this kind of despicable trick. But as long as you don't really kill Neptune, there is no problem at all. But, at this time, an officer frowned and said, but Big Brother Hody, is it really good to execute him publicly like this? What if the people attracted are not just Neptune's family? What should we do then? Chapter 73 Crisis, Neptune's Execution. What are you afraid of? Hody sneered, we have a full 100,000 troops, and we can also get stronger by taking addiction pills. He felt that this officer was really mindless. He will ascend the throne and become king. In the future, he will inevitably fight with Neptune's army, and now provoking hatred in advance will save trouble. As for whether he will lose, he never even thought about it. Big Brother Hody, you misunderstood. The officer shook his head and continued, I mean, the humans who helped Shirahoshi defeat Vanderdecken X might come, they. What did you say? Before the officer could finish speaking, Hody suddenly erupted. He clamped the officer's neck tightly. His voice was incomparably cold. You mean those lowest class humans might defeat us fish man? No, it's not. The officer struggled violently, desperately trying to pry open Hody's big hand. But he couldn't pry it open at all. Speak. Hody's hand unleashed tremendous force. In the next instant, there was a snap. The officer's neck was broken. The officer was dead. TCH. Seeing that he couldn't get any information, Hody then threw away the officer's body, his face gloomy. I didn't expect there to be traitors within us. He then looked at the somewhat riotous fish men present and said loudly, everyone remember. We fish men are the noblest race in the world. Our wrist strength is 10 times that of humans. Humans, an inferior species that can't even breathe underwater, are only fit to be our slaves. As he spoke, he immediately popped an addiction pills. Then he punched the ground. Boom. In an instant, the hard marble ground was actually smashed into a 2.5 meter giant pit. Cracks spread like a spider web. Extending all the way, it reached 100 meters away. Hiss. So strong. Is this big brother Hody's strength? The impact of this scene was so great that it dispelled the concerns of some fish men. You must know that Hody had only taken 1 addiction pills. He was able to smash the ground with 1 punch. What if he took a few more? Wouldn't that be invincible? As for humans, such a low-level creature. Even if they took 100 addiction pills, they would probably only cry and say their hands hurt after 1 punch. That's what they thought anyway. Big brother Hody is awesome. Big brother Hody is invincible. Hody. 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 After a brief silence, everyone shouted loudly in unison. They threw the matter of Hody killing his own clan member just now to the back of their minds. Big brother Hody is right. There is no need to worry about humans, such a low-level creature at all. You must know that they now have more than 30,000 human slaves. Those humans are really vulnerable. That officer just now actually wanted to say to be careful of humans, such a low-level creature. What is he if not a traitor? He deserved to die. No, it's not. In the distance, Neptune looked at this scene with a dazed expression. He thought, is Hody's brain broken? He actually thinks he's awesome just because he can smash the ground. And it's after taking the addiction pills. But this scene made Neptune breathe a sigh of relief. If Kaji and the other 3 were present, they would definitely be able to defeat Hody and the others. Moreover, Kaji specifically gave Shirahoshi a phone bug before leaving. Shirahoshi's life is probably safe as well. Looks like there's nothing for me to do. In the dark, Kaji breathed a sigh of relief. Soon, Hody announced through the island-wide broadcast that he would publicly execute Neptune at Gyeongcord Plaza in 3 hours. Kama. On the other side, riding the vortex, Shirahoshi hurriedly found her 3 brothers and told them about Hody's rebellion one by one. She was preparing to rescue father. Originally, Shark Star refused. Because as long as Hody wanted to continue to consolidate his rule, their father would not have his life in danger for the time being. And father desperately sent Shirahoshi out. He just hoped that Shirahoshi could endure and become stronger. But very quickly, a phone bug light screen suddenly appeared in front of them, and the content of the light screen was actually to publicly execute their father. Ah! Prince Flipped Car Star howled to the sky, Hody, this rebellious traitor, actually wants to kill father. Prince Crown Star was indignant, big brother. Don't stop me, I'm going to save father. Even if I die, I will drag someone down with me. Woo woo woo, father, father. Shirahoshi was crying non-stop with tears like a flood, feeling extremely guilty. She felt that she had harmed her own father. Hody is really too despicable. Shark Star didn't know what to do for a while. He could see at a glance that this was Hody's scheme. This was to use father's death to force them to appear, and then wipe them out in one fell swoop. The best way to deal with it is to turn a blind eye. But how could they turn a blind eye? After a long silence, Shark Star said with a serious face, Shirahoshi. If we don't come back alive, you must escape quickly. You have infinite power in you, and once this power rises, Hody will no longer be your opponent. Second brother, third brother, let's go. He finally decided that the 3 brothers would go to fight to the death. Hody only usurped the throne when a large number of Ryugu Kingdom troops went out to search for the Straw Hat Crew's whereabouts, and the seizure of power was not thorough. He is the first prince and can still lead the army to crusade against Hody. Although Hody is powerful, but who wins and who loses is still unknown. Big brother, second brother, third brother. Looking at the backs of her 3 elder brothers, a strong sense of unease welled up in Shirahoshi's heart. Suddenly, she seemed to have a premonition. The 3 elder brothers were defeated miserably. The heads of the three elder brothers were also made into wine bottles by Hody. No, this doesn't seem like a premonition, nor does it seem like a prophecy. It's more like seeing it. Boom. The strong sense of crisis made Shirahoshi's delicate body tremble violently, and she immediately caught up with her three elder brothers and stopped them. Big brother. Shirahoshi forcibly suppressed her tears and immediately took out the phone bug that Cam had given her from her chest. Maybe, just in case, they will help us. At the first moment of finding her three elder brothers, she planned to go to Kaji and the other three with her three elder brothers, hoping that the latter could help them resolve this rebellion. But this plan was directly rejected by her three elder brothers. Shirahoshi. Shark Star shook his head and sighed. Although I don't know the specific identities of the other three, that Kaji is undoubtedly a marine. The Navy has no right to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. Although Hody claims to be a pirate, he has not been wanted by the Navy. The world government will not send Marines to help us because of his pirate status and conspiracy to seize the country. What's more, Hody was also born in the Ryugu Kingdom, and the current situation can only be regarded as internal strife. The world government will not interfere too much in the internal strife of the kingdom. This is considered a normal change of dynasty. But, Shirahoshi's chest heaved violently, and she burst into tears again. But I don't want you to die. I saw you all die. I lost my brothers. Sigh. Looking at Shirahoshi, who was crying in front of her, Shark Star sighed for a long time, and finally nodded. Okay, then let's go find them and take a look. Chapter 74 Assistance, Clear Conditions. Of course. Shark Star didn't have any hope that Cam and the others could help him to fight Hody. Even if they were willing to help him, he would have to consider the consequences of them, as humans, intervening in this matter. The reason he agreed to give it a try was more in the hope that the Navy could temporarily protect Shirahoshi. Then let's go now. Shirahoshi stopped crying and immediately made a phone bug call. She learned that Cam and the others were near Gyeongcord Plaza. It seems they know about father being executed. Then let's go quickly. Shark Star and the other three didn't stay any longer and quickly joined up with Cam and the others. They explained the situation one by one, as well as what they were asking for. Of course, we'll help. Ryugu Kingdom is a member of the world government. Cam shouted righteously at the time. Earlier, he was still thinking about how to time the rescue more naturally. The reason he gave Shirahoshi the phone bug was so that she could call at a critical moment. This way, he could rescue her more reasonably. Now Shirahoshi and the others took the initiative to ask for help. Wouldn't this be even more logical? I understand, then can I trouble you to take my sister? Shark Star shook his head and sighed as he spoke, then his voice became smaller, and finally his pupils suddenly shrank. Huh. They agreed to this. Isn't the Navy not allowed to interfere in other countries' internal affairs? Shark Star asked in disbelief, are you really going to help us? Of course. At this moment, Monet and Kaji also said in unison, as Navy, it is our duty to arrest pirates like Hody. That's what they said, but they didn't think so in their hearts. After learning that they couldn't kill Wang Luffy for the time being, they also roughly knew Cam's thoughts. He's just a pervert. Isn't he just trying to get Shirahoshi? As for what luck or not, the two of them unanimously thought that Cam was just talking nonsense. Thank you. Thank you. Shirahoshi cried and thanked him, hugging Cam in her arms. Then submerged. Physically submerged. After Cam was submerged for a while, he squeezed out half of his body, pretending to struggle. It's nothing, what's there to thank? He waved his hand, saying with a righteous look. But in his heart, he was laughing wildly. This progress is a bit fast. Time waits for no one. Let's go save King Neptune now. Cam struggled to get out and strode towards the execution plaza. Wait. Just then, Shark Star called out to Cam. First Prince. Is there anything else? Cam was immediately dumbfounded. Your father is about to die, and you're still telling me to wait. Are you a filial son? Big brother. Prince Crown Star, Prince Flipped Car Star, and Shirahoshi also looked at Shark Star in confusion. Then immediately be alert. Their big brother wouldn't have any inappropriate thoughts, would he? Sigh. Facing everyone's gazes, Shark Star smiled bitterly and explained, of course, I am very grateful to Mr. Cam for his help. But there is a problem. What's the problem? Everyone stared at Shark Star and asked. Mr. Kam, you are humans. Shark Star shook his head and said in a deep voice, as you know. There are contradictions, even hatred, between humans and our merfolk and fishman tribes. Although Hody Jones is a rebel, you defeated him. From a standpoint, the residents of Ryugu Kingdom may not be grateful to you, and may even deepen the conflict. After all, the change of dynasties is not that important to the common people. In fact, Father has already planned to propose at this year's World Conference that the residents of Ryugu are willing to go to the land to live and coexist peacefully with humans. Whenever a fish man wants to open his heart to humans, there will always be humans who hinder it. If you just defeat Hody like this. Shark Star sighed heavily again. Mother's wish, or rather the wishes of all the residents, I'm afraid there will be no day to realize it. P.S. Most fishmen and merfolk hope to move to the land to live, where there is real sunshine. But because humans once persecuted fishman and fishman, as well as racial discrimination, they are afraid to go to the land to live. Boom. After hearing this, the three Crown Star siblings trembled violently. Looking like they were facing a formidable enemy. They really didn't think of this at first, but now that they think about it carefully. That's really the truth. If Kam and these four humans take action against Hody and his gang, it will only deepen the conflict between fishman and merfolk and humans. This. Only Kam frowned. This line, this plot. It seems a bit familiar. Big brother, are we going to give up on father because of this? Flipped Car Star flushed red, his face extremely ugly. Kam and these four, Navy, unexpectedly agreed to help. Is it possible to refuse this powerful reinforcements because of racial issues? Crown Star frowned and said in a deep voice, Big brother, although I have confidence in the strength of the three of us. But, what if we lose? We can't risk father's life. Woo woo woo. Shirahoshi's eyes were filled with tears, not knowing what to say. Father's life, mother's wish, and even the wishes of all the residents of Ryugu Kingdom. How to choose? Don't worry. Seeing the three of them looking like they were about to die, Shark Star shook his head and smiled again. In any case, Hody is undoubtedly a traitor. Although the common people don't care much about the change of dynasties. But Hody will definitely be Tuoma before he has a firm foothold. We can do this, and that. At this moment, Shark Star's eyes suddenly became wise. Discussing the next battle plan. This. Kam became more and more confused. Isn't this Jinbei's line? Jinbei's plot, Jinbei's plan. Battle plan. The general content is to wrong Kam and the other three to temporarily hide in Megalodon's belly. When Hody's ambitions expand and he wants to kill the residents of Fishman Island. When the residents of Fishman Island call for help, Kam and the other three can appear. Of course, in First Prince Shark Star's plan. If the three brothers can successfully defeat Hody, there will be no such scene. As for why they are sure that Hody will kill the residents. This is based on Shirahoshi's information, that is, the signed letters that Hody found. Okay. Kam nodded. Then several people strode out and went in the direction of the execution plaza. Wait. Just then, Mingmei moved slightly. Stopped Kam and the other three. What's the matter? Kam looked at Mingmei in surprise. Not knowing what this guy is up to. Mingmei glared at Kam fiercely, ignoring him. Looking at Shark Star and the other three, she said apologetically, First of all, I am deeply saddened by your country's misfortune, but. Meeting the nervous eyes of Shark Star and the other three, Mingmei continued, but, we Navy do not have the right to interfere in other countries' internal affairs. Although Hody calls himself the new fish man pirates, there is no bounty. Moreover, he himself is from Ryugu Kingdom. The world government will not care, and the Navy has no right to care. So, I can't help you with this matter. As expected. Shark Star immediately relaxed a lot. They didn't expect Kam and the others to help at first. Mingmei. Kam glared at Mingmei fiercely, thinking that this girl shouldn't ruin his good deeds. Don't make noise. Mingmei rolled her eyes at Kam charmingly. It seems to be saying that this is a good thing. But you also know. My and Kam's identities are not Navy in the traditional sense. Soon, Mingmei changed the subject and continued, so, if you can agree to a condition, it's not impossible. What conditions? Shark Star asked. Chapter 75 The Three Prince Brothers. What conditions? Shark Star asked in pleasant surprise. Hee hee. Mingmei giggled. Her purpose in coming to Fishman Island was different from Cam's. Cam's purpose was to hunt down Straw Hat Kid. As for her, she wanted to fulfill her ancestors' wishes and hoped that the residents of Fishman Island could move to the surface as soon as possible. After living on Fishman Island for the past few days, she finally understood why the merfolk and fishmen all yearned for sunlight but didn't dare to go to the surface. Conditions. I haven't thought about it yet. But don't worry, it definitely won't be a condition that will embarrass you. After thinking for a while, Mingmei ultimately didn't directly say that she wanted to form a marriage alliance with Cam. That would seem like taking advantage of someone's misfortune. Okay. Shark Star gritted his teeth and agreed. At this moment, Jinbei also learned that Neptune had been captured by Hody and would be executed soon. Instead of being surprised, he was overjoyed. This was an opportunity given by God. Jinbei's eyes lit up, and he murmured, if the Straw Hat crew can go and save King Neptune, then the previous misunderstandings should all disappear. I should also be able to join the Straw Hat crew smoothly. The more Jinbei thought about it, the more he felt he was right, and he trembled with excitement. As for Hody, Jinbei, didn't take him seriously at all. Just a clown who didn't know how high the sky was or how vast the earth was. In other words, if he was willing, he alone could kill his way through Hody's new Fishman pirates. TCH. Still calling it the new Fishman pirates. Is he worthy? Jinbei didn't stay any longer and hurried towards the direction of the Straw Hat crew. At this moment, under a hidden reef. Luffy was rolling around on the ground, crying, I want to eat meat. I want to eat meat. Luffy. Nami punched him twice, signaling Luffy not to be unreasonable. But, I'm really hungry. Luffy burst into tears. He felt wronged. He was already hungry. He smelled the aroma and went to Hard Shell Tower to eat, but he inexplicably encountered a trampoline. He accidentally started playing. As a result, before he could have enough fun, he was inexplicably besieged and hunted down. He hadn't eaten yet. Sanji, I want to eat. I want to eat. Make me food. Luffy hugged Sanji's thigh tightly, begging in a hoarse voice. Luffy. Endure it. Now Fishman Island is hunting us everywhere. The Straw Hat crew all had bitter expressions. It wasn't that they hadn't gone out to find food, they were also hungry. But when they went to certain restaurants and shops, the signs at the door read, Straw Hat crew and dogs are not allowed inside. They even posted their headshots. Who would dare to go in? They finally found a shop with a sign that read, Straw Hat Kid and dogs are not allowed inside. It turned out to be a trap. As soon as they entered, they were chased by a large group of Fishman soldiers. It was only because they temporarily met Jinbei that he helped them settle down here. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't even have a place to stay. Tap tap. At this moment, a sound of footsteps came. The Straw Hat crew became alert. Jinbei. Luffy had sharp eyes and immediately jumped up, hugging Jinbei's thigh tightly. Meat. Jinbei, I want meat. This. Jinbei scratched his head awkwardly. He originally planned to go out to buy food. But after going out, he soon learned that Neptune had been arrested and was about to be executed. Then he hurried back without stopping. I forgot. Jinbei coughed and said somewhat embarrassedly. What? Luffy suddenly jumped up and glared at Jinbei fiercely. How could he forget such an important thing as bringing food? Luffy. Don't be noisy. Nami punched him twice again, not giving Luffy a chance to throw a tantrum. Jinbei is our benefactor, we can't be so rude. This. Jinbei listened to Nami's words. He was momentarily speechless. The timing was wrong. He hadn't told Nami yet that Arlong and his gang were brought out of prison by him and then accidentally landed in her hometown. The situation is urgent, let's make a long story short. Jinbei told them his thoughts one by one. What? They are desperately hunting us down. We have to help them instead. Usopp's body trembled violently, his face full of unwillingness, and he firmly opposed it. Jinbei, could this be? The rest of the Straw Hat crew also looked at Jinbei with surprised expressions, indicating that this was a bit unreasonable. Don't worry. Listen to me finish. So, Jinbei talked about the current situation. So that's how it is, then I have no objections. Me too. The Straw Hat crew expressed their opinions one by one. They also wanted to prove their innocence. But after being falsely accused of being human traffickers, they had been in a passive position. Then many misleading things happened one after another. If they become heroes, they will definitely be able to take the initiative in this matter. Jinbei. How many people do you think will go to that plaza? Luffy suddenly asked. For such a major event, as long as the distance isn't too far, I'm afraid they will all go, Jinbei replied. Haha. Luffy was suddenly overjoyed. That's great. It's settled then. But before going to save that idiot king, I must eat my fill. But Luffy. Usopp frowned. We are being hunted everywhere now, where are we going to eat? Usopp, you're stupid. At the moment, Luffy had a very wise look and said, when everyone goes to that plaza, we will naturally be able to eat a free meal. The Straw Hat crew were all shocked that this blind spot was discovered by Luffy. Sure enough, when it comes to eating, their captain is very talented. That's for sure. Jinbei gladly said that there was no problem, and then continued, but because you are humans, we still have to make some plans. So, Jinbei talked about some details. It was roughly the same as first Prince Shark Star, and even the plans were similar. Yoncord Plaza. That is, the plaza where the king will be executed. At this time, Hody had already defeated Neptune's army that was blocking the way and sat in the center of the plaza with a majestic appearance, coldly scanning the Fish Man Island residents surrounding the plaza. Hiss. Isn't he the human soldier who killed Queen Otahime back then? Among the crowd of residents, someone recognized Hody's identity. Is it him? But wasn't he Ryugu's hero? Why did he kill King Neptune? Someone wondered. Damn it. Is he the bastard who forced us to trample on Queen Otahime's portrait? Someone was angry. Damn it. I just signed my name. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Some people hugged their heads and cried. He was the one who signed the letter of intent to immigrate Fish Man Island, that is, the traitor in Hody's mouth. He will also be eliminated in the future. Boom. At this moment, a huge breaking wind sound came from a distance. It's the Three Princes. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 76. Shirahoshi is captured, Hody's ambition. It's the Three Princes. The surrounding crowd, hearing the voice, turned their heads to look. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The three of Shark Star were already riding sea beasts, charging towards the entrance of the plaza. The three of them brandished their tridents. Light and shadow flowing water spear. 7 treasures myriad treasures. Ryugu Castle Gate. 3 people, 3 strikes, in an instant, all the gate-keeping sea beasts were defeated. The sea beasts have all been taken care of. The onlookers widened their eyes, somewhat in disbelief. But immediately following was ecstasy. So strong. As expected of the 3 princes, the Ryugu 3 strong. That's great, there's hope. Those Ryugu residents who signed the letter of intent were even more excited, dancing with joy. As long as the 3 princes are victorious, they won't have to die. Hody. Shark Star's face was almost distorted, and indescribable rage was being played out on his face. Why don't you understand? Hatred will only bring about the destruction of Fish Man Island. Then, brandishing his trident, he declared without a doubt, be it Father's head, the lives of the citizens. Or even the land of Ryugu Kingdom. Don't even think about taking anything away. TCH, say what you want. Anyway, the final victor will only be me. On the throne, Hody coldly looked at the 3 of Shark Star, feeling somewhat displeased. He didn't see Shirahoshi. The only one he truly feared was Shirahoshi. But he wasn't surprised either. If Shirahoshi had come along swaggeringly, he would have suspected whether there was some kind of trap. Go. Take them down. Hody raised his hand and gave the order. Yes. Big brother Hody. The officers responded one after another. They stepped out, and then stopped halfway in perfect unison. They took out a pill from their pockets and swallowed it in one gulp. Bang! Instantly, an extremely violent energy filled the bodies of these officers. Their eyes were bloodshot, and their bodies were full of baleful aura. Addiction pills. Shark Star was immediately shocked. This kind of medicine that overdrafts life to gain powerful strength was stolen as early as 10 years ago. He never expected that these addiction pills would appear in Hody's hands. At the same time, he also felt a little fortunate. They listened to Shirahoshi's advice in the end. Otherwise, they would really have been defeated here. This kind of power that relies on medicine. It's not worth mentioning at all. The three of Shark Star gritted their teeth together, and then gripped their tridents tightly and thrust them forward heavily. So weak. The officers sneered in unison, their figures flickering. Boom. 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 The huge energy impact caused dust and smoke to fill the plaza for a time, making it impossible to see the situation inside. But very quickly, the battle had a result. How is this possible? The surrounding residents all covered their mouths tightly. They looked in disbelief at the three princes who were knocked to the ground. The three princes, who had killed the sea beasts in seconds a moment ago, were now being killed in seconds. Was Hodi's group really that powerful? It's over. Those residents who were still happily dancing a second ago immediately slumped down. Damn it. If I had known, I shouldn't have signed. They began to regret why they were bewitched by Princess Otahime and signed that damn signature. Don't give up, there's still hope. Shirahoshi Princess is still here. That's right. As long as Her Highness Shirahoshi Princess is still here, we still have hope. Hearing the reminders from the people around them, the merfolk who had fallen into despair regained a glimmer of light in their eyes. As residents of Fishman Island, they had all heard more or less that Shirahoshi possessed some kind of powerful power. Now only Shirahoshi is left. Looking at the three princes who were tied up and sent to the gallows, Hodi's eyes flickered. The family should be together neatly. Report. Report. Just as Hodi was thinking about whether he needed to delay the execution time to attract Shirahoshi to appear, news came. What's the matter? Hodi asked. Reporting, Big Brother Hodi. The subordinate looked extremely excited. Shirahoshi has been caught. What? How did you catch her? Hodi was stunned. Reporting, Big Brother Hodi. Near the plaza, I saw a large merfolk acting suspiciously. So I pinched a Neptune balloon doll. The subordinate described vividly. As a result, that idiot Shirahoshi was fooled. So that's how it is. Hodi looked at Shark Star with interest. Did you tell her to run away immediately if something was wrong? But unfortunately, she's even more stupid than I imagined. Hodi. The three princes gritted their teeth and glared at Hodi. The surging anger seemed to be able to swallow people. They were secretly laughing in their hearts. This was their plan after they were defeated. If not, how could Shirahoshi be caught so easily? As for the possibility of giving it away for nothing, they never thought about it at all. They were royal princes, more knowledgeable than Hodi. Putting aside other things, just Vice Admiral Kaji alone could solo their new fishman pirates. Hodi. I'll fight you to the death. Neptune, who didn't know the truth, trembled violently. A majestic force burst out from his body. Bang bang bang. The metal shackles of the execution rack showed signs of collapsing. Noisy. Hodi raised his hand and shook it, and a giant stream of water with a width of 2.5 centimeters spurted out. Neptune immediately stopped shouting. Ah, this. The Shark Star three brothers stared blankly at their father. Thinking that we are just acting. Don't take it seriously. However, they couldn't say much. Only after Hodi thought he had the chance to win and revealed even greater ambitions would the people's awareness of resistance be stronger. At that time, even if humans defeated Hodi, most of the fishmen would not be afraid of it. That great wish can be fulfilled. This is the most important thing. Woo! Shirahoshi cried loudly and was tied up with Megalodon. Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi. It's really Shirahoshi. Hodi stood up suddenly. In an instant, he had the illusion that this was a dream. I originally thought that the Straw Hat crew who defeated Arlong's group would become our strong opponents, but it seems that there is no hope. If my information is correct, the few humans who defeated Vanderdecken are all Navy. According to their regulations, they have no right to interfere in the internal power change of the kingdom at all. Ja ha ha ha. At that time, I will participate in the World Conference as the new king, and then kill all the human royal families. Then keep all those celestial dragon as slaves. Hodi's eyes were bloodshot, and he immediately became crazy, gnawing on the addiction pills in big gulps. We fishmen are the noblest race in the world. Only we are worthy to rule the world. Hodi. 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 Big Brother is right, we fishmen are the noblest race. We should rule the world. The new fishman pirates shouted in unison. They took it for granted that this was what it should be. Their fishman race has far surpassed humans' physical fitness, and their wrist strength is several times that of humans. There is also the addiction pills, a magical substance. After eating one, the power can be doubled. Big Brother Hody can smash the ground with one punch. So powerful. Who should they rule the world if they don't? Chapter 77 Fear, the Power of White Star. It's over. It's really over. Seeing this, the surrounding residents collapsed on the ground with a whoosh. Their faces were filled with despair. The capture of Shirahoshi Princess also signaled the complete impossibility of a comeback for the Neptune family. They, the traitors, would also be killed by Hody. Fortunately, some people breathed a sigh of relief. They were glad that they hadn't signed the letter of intent in the first place, so they wouldn't suffer a reckoning. At the same time, they also felt disappointment. They also yearned for the surface world, but if Hody ruled this country, then there would be no chance for them in this lifetime. Is he an idiot? Mingmei was stunned as she listened inside Megalodon's mouth. You want to rule the world with strength gained from relying on drugs. What a joke. Just a clown, don't pay him any attention. Cam curled his lip. In the storyline, Hody was the weakest boss without any controversy, a pure clown who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Then when are we going to make a move? Mingmei asked again, just based on the fact that he has the idea of overthrowing our rule, we can't let him go. Wait a little longer. Cam waved his hand. In his memory, Hody revealed the truth about his murder of Otahime to completely destroy Shirahoshi's faith. This made the Straw Hat Crew's intervention even more reasonable. Since Cam was going to completely destroy Wang Lufei's luck. Naturally, it would be better to follow the script. You won't succeed. Neptune spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood, his face full of seriousness. Hody, you are just a toad living under a manhole cover, nourished by hatred and without any knowledge. You simply don't understand the power of humans. You. Boom. Asterisk. Neptune hadn't finished speaking when a huge stream of water spurted out. Jya ha ha ha. Hody's eyes were bloodshot, his face became ferocious, and his voice was loud. Did you see that? This is the former king. A cowardly king. Clearly a fish man, yet he doesn't have the pride of a fish man at all. He actually wants to live subservient to humans. But I am different. Boom. Asterisk. In an instant, the huge square stone wall lowered its valves. Tap, tap, tap. Asterisk. The sound of footsteps was deafening, and the dust raised blotted out the sky. Tens of thousands of troops were ready to go, fully armed fish man. And humans wearing shackles. Did you see that? This is my army. 70,000 well-equipped fish man. And 30,000 human slaves captured in the sea this month. Then, Hody swallowed 10 pills like candy beans. While his face was painfully distorted, the power in his body soared several times. Then, his left foot stomped down suddenly. Boom. A sharp explosion suddenly rang out. A huge pit of 25 meters was smashed into the hard square pavement. The entire square shook. In my power. Only I can lead the fish man to a brighter future. Hody's elbows were slightly bent, and he looked at the crowd in the square with satisfaction. He was not a fool. There were traitors in the crowd, but there were also ordinary fish men who had not signed the letter of intent. His future rule, and even the attack on humans, could not be separated from their support. For this reason, he must establish prestige. Where does prestige come from? Only from strength that is so powerful that it makes people suffocate. Hody, so strong. The shockwave did not dissipate, and all of it slammed hard into the hearts of everyone in the arena. Their hearts were greatly shaken. Suddenly, many people present had a bold idea. If Hody's strength is really that strong, maybe, possibly, perhaps, he can restore the glory of the fish man. But they also felt that they would be letting Otahime down too much. Making a lot of noise in public, what an uneducated brat. At this moment, a lazy voice rang out inappropriately. Then the tone of the voice immediately turned cold, and said resolutely, I advise you not to get too carried away. Hody Jones. Damn it. Hearing this voice, the fish man in the audience were shocked again. They turned their heads to look. Who is so brave? How dare they talk to Hody like that? Madam Charlie. Hody frowned slightly, and still greeted Charlie, what's the matter? I'm just here to remind you, this arrogant and conceited child, that my divination results have not changed so far. Charlie held her pipe, her eyes calm. What do you want to say? Hody's face suddenly darkened, and a bad feeling suddenly arose in his heart. The divination picture is too blurry, and there are many details I can't determine. Charlie put down her pipe and said in a calm tone, but one thing is undeniable, it won't be you. According to the prediction I made, the one who will reign over the world will never be you, Hody Jones. As Arlong's younger sister, she still hoped that Hody would stop in time after knowing this result. As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar in the audience. What? So, Hody will still lose in the end. In other words, King Neptune will make a comeback at the limit. The final victor is still Neptune. Quote. How is that possible? The residents who had just come up with bold ideas trembled all over. King Neptune is about to be executed. First Prince and the others have all been captured. How can they make a comeback? HMPH. Madame Charlie's predictions are 100% accurate. There can be no mistake. Someone immediately stood up to refute. That's great. Now we just sit and watch the show. Anyway, the loser must be Hody. That's right, that's right. Quote. Listening to the small discussions around him. Hody's face suddenly became ugly. The prestige he had finally built up was gone in an instant. Just because of Charlie's bullshit prediction. Nonsense. His body suddenly burst out. There was only a boom sound. Water droplets pierced through Charlie's body like bullets. You want to make me give up with this kind of unfounded words? Don't be ridiculous. Hody roared, trying not to lose his composure. Although he didn't want to admit it, he also knew that Charlie's predictions were quite accurate. It was almost an unchangeable future. A feeling of fear began to arise. It could be said that Charlie's words not only affected the surrounding residents, but also affected Hody himself. My fate is up to me, not the heavens. I will definitely win. Hody howled in his heart. His mind was constantly thinking about King Neptune's hope of making a comeback. He must nip it in the bud in advance. Shirahoshi. Suddenly, Hody thought of what that hope was. If Shirahoshi mastered her power and summoned those huge sea kings like 10 years ago, he, Hody, would have no chance of winning. She can't be allowed to use that power. She must be killed first. But as soon as he thought of this, Hody denied it himself. He didn't dare to gamble on whether Shirahoshi would unleash that power when he killed her. Chapter 78. The truth about the murder of the mother has long been known. That's right. I will make her faith collapse. Let her live in pain forever. Hody's heart suddenly filled with ecstasy. He suddenly realized that no one knew that the one who truly killed Queen Otahime was not a human, but him, Hody. If Shirahoshi knew the truth. If the hatred towards humans accumulated over 10 years were to dissipate. Wouldn't she be shocked to faint? The worst outcome, Shirahoshi might be unable to control that power due to anger, causing Fish Man Island to be completely destroyed, just like when Queen Otahime died 10 years ago. Thousands of thoughts raced through his mind. But only half a second had passed. He glared angrily at Charlie, who was lying on the ground, and sneered, "Don't think I'm the same as your brother. I did admire him a lot when I was a kid, but times have changed. The power I have now is stronger than him. Open your dog eyes and see clearly the scale I have now." Hody raised his hand, and the 100,000 strong army moved with him. The mighty aura seemed to burst the entire island. My plan started 10 years ago, I can't lose. Let me tell you the truth. Hody opened his arms, his eyes bloodshot. This Ryugu kingdom, the queen you all love. That bitch. I actually killed her. Boom. As soon as these words came out. In an instant, black and white seemed to flash through everyone's minds. The black side was the human who killed Queen Otahime, and the white side was Hody Jones who killed that human. Black and white kept spinning, spinning again. When they were already dizzy and couldn't tell which was which. Looking up again, the black side turned into Hody. Hody, whose eyes were full of fangs and covered in blood. What? Quote. The three princes struggled violently. Their eyes were flashing with a hint of madness. Hody Jones. The enemy who killed their mother. What? Quote. The tens of thousands of residents watching the scene undoubtedly widened their eyes, their faces full of disbelief, and there was an uproar. Big brother Hody, did you kill Queen Otahime? Quote. Even Hody's executives couldn't believe it. Indicating that big brother, you shouldn't be talking nonsense. What's going on? That human back then. After the uproar on the field, there was a burst of questioning. The human back then was indeed an arsonist, they had all seen it with their own eyes. Ja ha ha ha. Faced with the questioning, Hody raised his head and laughed triumphantly. At the beginning, I just spent some money to hire a human pirate to light the signature box. Then I took advantage of the chaos to kill the queen. Finally, I killed that human and blamed him. Finally. At this point, Hody became even more proud. I, the murderer, became a hero. Ja ha ha ha. Quote. Didn't expect that, you bunch of idiots. Hody turned his head and glanced at Shirahoshi triumphantly. He really wanted to see what Shirahoshi's expression was at this moment. Would she just cry and faint from anger? Would she feel resentment and suddenly open her fangs to eat herself? Huh. Quote. But suddenly he was stunned. Shirahoshi didn't react at all. Suddenly, Hody felt a sense of powerlessness arise spontaneously, like a fist hitting cotton. He was unwilling, he roared. He increased his output. Otahime was too much of a hindrance. Right, Shirahoshi. She falsely claimed that revenge on humans was a sin. She preached throughout the island that we should get along with humans, and she almost succeeded in her evil plan. That kind of woman was really too annoying. Quote. So I killed her. Quote. Suddenly, Hody laughed. Haven't you always been persuading Fishman to let go of hatred? Now, his eyes were bloodshot, and he shouted, I, Hody Jones. Your mother's murderer. I am standing in front of you. If you have the guts, let go of your hatred too. Quote. Hody was completely crazy at this moment. He didn't consider too many consequences at all. The worst outcome would be to perish together with Fishman Island. Damn it. Hody, you dog thief. Don't yell at the princess. Quote. The surrounding residents were all filled with indignation. Thinking that Hody was trying to kill someone's heart. Not good. Neptune and the others looked at Shirahoshi warily. They were really afraid that Shirahoshi would cry like she did 10 years ago, and then accidentally destroy Fishman Island. Woo woo. Shirahoshi buried her head and finally cried out. It was just that everyone was surprised that she still didn't have much reaction. She pursed her tears and forced a smile. Actually. I already knew. Quote. What? Quote. In a trance, everyone felt the black and white roulette in their minds spinning again. Sadness, annoyance, anger, fear, countless negative emotions burst out. Bang. Then, the next moment, only clarity remained in their eyes. Woo woo. This happened a few years later, Megalodon secretly told me. At that time. Quote, quote. Quote, quote. The whole place fell silent, quietly listening to Shirahoshi's story. After listening, everyone felt mixed feelings. There was emotion, there was sympathy. But more than that, there was incomprehension. But, Princess Shirahoshi, since you know the truth, why didn't you say it? If you said it, Hody's plan would have failed long ago, and you wouldn't have fallen to this point. On the square, someone finally asked the question that they couldn't understand. Knowing the truth, but not telling anyone. Isn't Shirahoshi very stupid like this? If I said it, someone would definitely hate Lord Hody. That would make Mother sad. Shirahoshi pursed her lips and said, Mother made a final agreement with us before she died. She said that no matter who the murderer is, what their background is. All cannot be hated. Quote. Shirahoshi finished speaking with a sob. The moist eyes could no longer hold back the accumulated tears. She burst into tears. I deserve to die. Quote. The person who had just asked the question slapped himself in the face, full of guilt. Repaying evil with kindness, what a kind princess. But just now, he thought the princess was stupid. On the square, the sound of slaps rang out from all directions, and everyone felt as guilty as the person who had just asked the question. Repaying evil with kindness, it is indeed Queen Otahime's daughter. In Megalodon's mouth, Mingmei sincerely praised. They were also filled with mixed feelings. What a kind girl. Shirahoshi. Cam felt a little uncomfortable in his heart and asked, Mingmei, could it be that our ancestors wanted to let the fish man go to land so they could be caught for experiments or something? He also knew that celestial dragon were not good birds. But his position made him. If he didn't kill Wang Lufei and didn't help the tyrant, he, Cam, would die, and no one could change that. And Cam has always been a mediocre person. He is afraid of death and doesn't want to die even more. But, if Mingmei said that there was some other conspiracy in the matter of the ancestors wanting the fish man to move to land, then let's forget about the marriage. Cam just wants to be a lewd celestial dragon who occasionally does bad things like bullying men and dominating women. Comma. Degree, no. I actually received a gift yesterday, I'm so happy. Chapter 79 Hate and Wrong. No. Quote. Mingmei shook her head, her eyes firm, although I don't know for what purpose. But the ancestor definitely didn't want to capture the fish man to do experiments. Quote. That's good. Quote. Cam breathed a sigh of relief. Shirahoshi. Quote. Neptune, and the three princes all looked at Shirahoshi with complicated expressions. Full of guilt and heartache. Not hating the enemy who killed her mother, not telling anyone. This is also a torment for Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi. Quote. Especially the three princes. They lowered their heads in shame, feeling a little ashamed. When they first learned that the murderer of their mother was Hody, the grief and anger in their hearts almost drove them crazy. Not to hate, it's almost impossible. But the younger sister, who usually cried and behaved extremely timidly, endured the pain alone for so many years. Just because this was mother's request. What a tenacity. Shirahoshi. Quote. Hody glared at Shirahoshi, the feeling of powerlessness made his limbs feel tired. It was like punching cotton with a fist, and as a result, the cotton turned around and knocked him down. But the next second he laughed wildly. Jahahaha. Quote. The laughter rippled, out of tune with the temporary silence and pain in the square. Hody, you bastard. What are you laughing at? Quote. The residents on the square were filled with indignation and cursed. Megalodon. You really have good eyes. Quote. Hody grinned, pointing at Megalodon, if it wasn't Shirahoshi this kind of idiot who told me. If it were someone else, my plan would have failed long ago. Quote. Jahahaha. Quote. Then he turned to look at Shirahoshi, clutching his stomach and laughing. Shirahoshi. Do you know how stupid your behavior is? You actually did as that bitch said, not telling anyone. It's really killing me with laughter. Quote. Shirahoshi. Don't listen to his nonsense. Your choice is not wrong. Quote. Shark Star glared at Hody with a ferocious look, wanting him to shut up. What's not wrong? Quote. Hody stepped forward, pointing at Shirahoshi's forehead. What the hell is the agreement? Because of your stupidity, this kingdom will be destroyed. Ha 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 ha. Quote. The younger brothers also laughed loudly. Said that they had never seen such a stupid princess. If Shirahoshi's brain was a little brighter, they would have been locked up in jail years ago. How could there be any rebellion? Hody, shut up. Quote. Neptune's body trembled violently. Shirahoshi silently endured the cruel truth for so many years. Even if he died, he didn't want her to be accused by the murderer of her mother. Jahahaha. Quote. Hody continued to point at Shirahoshi and sneer. Because of your stupidity, your father will die, and your brothers will also die. Ha 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 ha. Stupid Shirahoshi. Stupid princess. Quote. The younger brothers followed closely behind. Mocking Shirahoshi for being so stupid. Damn it, these bastards. Quote. On the square, the onlookers gritted their teeth. Shirahoshi, you are not wrong. Quote. They shouted as hard as they could, but because of the distance and the lack of numbers, the momentum simply cannot compete with Hody's army on the field. Madam Shiarli, when did you say Straw Hat Kid would destroy Fishman Island? A resident asked. I don't know. Charlie lay on the ground and shook her head. Damn it. Fishman Island can go to hell, Straw Hat Kid. Come and destroy Fishman Island now. Quote. Yes. This damn Fishman Island can go to hell. Quote. At this moment, suddenly, many residents simply quit their stalls and stopped working, praying that the Straw Hat crew who will destroy Fishman Island in the future will come and destroy it as soon as possible. Come and change the current situation. Jahahaha. Hody still laughed wildly, his saliva splattering, his fingers frantically poking like a stapler, almost poking Shirahoshi's nose. No one can change it, just because of your extremely stupid choice. Quote. Ha 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 ha. Fool. Idiot. Quote. If I were to say, Otahime was probably not expecting to have such a stupid daughter. Quote. We are enemies, but we are still so kind to enemies like us. Quote. Do you think Otahime will slap Shirahoshi after she goes down? Quote. Ha ha ha, definitely will. Quote. Quote, comma, comma, quote. The sharp laughter was like a swarm of locusts covering the sky, and the tricky and mean words were like arrows covering the sky, constantly gnawing and piercing Shirahoshi's beliefs. Facing those mocking gazes, and the fingers that kept flying and accusing. Am I really wrong? Quote. Shirahoshi's chest heaved violently, and for the first time, her heart wavered about, not hating. Ha ha ha. Quote. Yes, yes. You are doing very well. Quote. If it weren't for you, how could Big Brother Hody have successfully ascended the throne? Quote. If it weren't for you, how could Neptune and these people have died so quickly? Quote. Ha ha ha. Idiot. Stupid. Quote. Quote, comma, comma, quote. Am I really wrong? Shirahoshi collapsed, and her heart wavered once again. She could vaguely hear a sound of shattering, as if something precious was being lost. But the next moment, it solidified again. You are not wrong. The only one who is wrong is that clown over there. Quote. At this moment, Cam patted Shirahoshi on the shoulder and said in a calm voice. Who? Quote. Hody's pupils suddenly shrank. How could someone bypass his perception and appear silently beside Shirahoshi? No matter who you are, go to hell. Quote. Hody roared, and a giant water column 2.5 centimeters wide spurted out. Be careful. Quote. Shirahoshi exclaimed in shock, but Cam didn't even bother to lift his eyelids. Are you having kidney deficiency? You pee so little. Quote. Boom. Only heard a boom sound. A wretched, hunchbacked man whose appearance had nothing to do with a hero flashed between Cam and Shirahoshi and Hody. Just standing there, it seemed like there was some kind of energy, making the water column that Hody shot out stagnate. Damn it, it's a human. Quote. Are they here to rescue Shirahoshi? Quote. The surrounding cadres were all shocked. No matter what, they couldn't imagine where these humans came from. Waving his hand, hundreds of water droplets bypassed Kaji's figure like an arc-shaped ball and blasted towards Cam. Blizzard. Quote. Monet activated her ability. Immediately afterwards, the cold wind howled, a piece of white snow, the temperature dropped sharply. Those water droplets only flew half a meter before they immediately froze and then fell. Damn it. Quote. Are they the same cursed people as Vander? Quote. The surrounding Hody army instantly panicked and shot at Cam's head. Can't help but cry when you see a woman crying. Quote. You are too anxious. Quote. Mingmei opened Megalodon's teeth, stepped out of it unhurriedly, complaining a little that Cam's timing was wrong. Then her figure flashed, drew the sword, sheathed the sword. Boom. In an instant, thousands of bullets exploded at the same time, like blooming sunflowers. Chapter 80. Who cares about this shitty script? So strong. Quote. Neptune and the three princes looked at this scene in astonishment, calling it awesome in their hearts. Sorry. Quote. I did appear too early. Quote. Cam jumped down from Shirahoshi's palm, scratching his head and looking at Shark Star with some embarrassment. Whether it was according to Shark Star's plan, or the original Pirate King's plot. Now is not the best time for him to appear. This. Shark Star was speechless for a moment. He also knew that it was indeed not a good time to appear now. Even if many Ryugu residents at the scene were already filled with righteous indignation. But after the matter, it would still take a lot of public relations to explain clearly to the residents who were not present. The original script was quite good. Quote. Cam said with a smile, but I just want to say one sentence. Oh. What is it? Quote. Shark Star asked as he untied the chains on his body. At this moment, a red light flashed in Cam's pupils. Whoever wants this damn script can have it. Quote. After saying that, he stepped out, his figure flashed. When he was seen again, he was already 10 meters away. What a fast speed. Quote. Hody's expression suddenly changed drastically, and he grabbed the addiction pills and wanted to stuff them into his mouth. Boom. Quote. But before he could put the medicine to his mouth, a strong and powerful hand grabbed his head. So you're not stupid, huh? Quote. So you're the one who made Shirahoshi cry. Quote. Quote, comma, comma, quote. So you're saying they all have to die, huh? Quote. Cam howled as if to vent. Bang bang bang. The big hand grabbed Hody's head and slammed it up and down like a machine gun, like chopping melons and vegetables. I, your father, will stand here today. Quote. Let's see who you can kill. Quote. Cam shouted in a vibrating voice. A sweeping kick sent egg beating flying. Quote. Quote. Hody let out a pig-killing scream. His body, which was much larger than a human, soared directly into the air. Like a cannonball, it slammed heavily into the end of the square. Big Brother Hody. Quote. The new fish man pirates looked at this scene in disbelief. Their big brother Hody was invincible. How could he not even be able to block a single move from this human? That's right. This human doesn't play by the rules. Quote. Big Brother Hody hasn't taken his pills yet and he already started fighting. Quote. The new fish man pirates gritted their teeth, thinking that humans were indeed all despicable people. It's a human. Quote. On the square, the faces of the onlookers also changed drastically. They were just ordinary fish man or merfolk, and they couldn't see where Cam and the others came from at all. As far as they were concerned, in the blink of an eye, they saw Hody, who was still smug the second before, being beaten like a dead dog. Although their hearts were relieved. But they couldn't help but feel panic in their hearts. Wouldn't these four fierce humans of unknown origin attack them again after teaching Hody a lesson? Sigh. We should still follow the script. Quote. Seeing the reaction of the surrounding residents, Sharkstar sighed. This was indeed not the best time to appear. The best time to appear should be when Shirahoshi took the initiative to ask for help. It's just that when he thought this way, he always had a kind of inexplicable feeling of irritability in his heart. Big brother. What's there to sigh about? Standing from the general direction, it is the best time to take action when Shirahoshi takes the initiative to ask for help. But standing from the perspective of a brother, I can't wait for a moment. Quote. Prince Crown Star shouted in a muffled voice. Yes. Quote. Prince Flipped Car Star also nodded heavily. Ha 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 ha. Quote. Hearing this, Shark Star laughed out loud. He suddenly understood what that inexplicable feeling of irritability was. He was a prince, but he was also an older brother. That's right. Quote. Then, big brother. Let's continue fighting too. Prince Crown Star said. No. Quote. Shark Star thought for a while, looked at the surrounding residents and said, the most important thing now is to stabilize the emotions of the residents and tell them that Mr. Cam is our reinforcements. Quote. But big brother, we don't need to worry. Quote. Shark Star shook his head. It was still that sentence. Among the four of Cam, Kaji alone could single-handedly take on the new fishman pirates. Intervening would only hold them back. Quote. At the end of the square, Hody clutched his crotch tightly. His body was like a vine in flames, struggling and twisting. Big brother Hody. Take your pills quickly. Quote. The cadres ran forward one after another, carrying a washbasin full of addiction pills. Human. Quote. I'm going to kill you. Quote. Hody swallowed 10 addiction pills, his face ferocious as he roared at Cam. Kill me. Quote. With me here, you won't be able to kill anyone today. Quote. I said so. Quote. Cam stepped forward. Boom. An invisible aura spread out. That light sentence seemed unquestionable. And us. Quote. Kaji, Monet, and Mingmei stepped forward one after another. A strange pressure enveloped the entire square. So strong. Quote. Feeling the aura on the field, everyone present was suffocated. Suddenly, a bold idea came to their minds. These four powerful humans might be able to defeat Hody's 100,000 strong army. Yahahaha. Quote. Hody's mouth curled into a confident arc. 4 people against 100,000 people. Are they out of their minds? Are you as stupid as Shirahoshi, unable to recognize the situation? Quote. I have a full 100,000 strong army. Quote. Hody waved his hand, and the 100,000 strong army on the square stopped in unison. The sound of footsteps was deafening, and the momentum was terrifying. That's right. The difference in numbers is too obvious. Quote. Seeing the formation on Hody's side, the onlookers were immediately doused with a bucket of cold water and could only mourn for these 4 humans who stood up. 100,000 strong army. Quote. Cam frowned. Then, without hesitation, he redeemed the Haki Conquerors Clear Small Soldiers Experience card from the system store. Open black lens bracket ding equals 20,000 experience points have been deducted close black lens bracket. Clang. Quote. The rich Haki of the Supreme King burst out like a tide, instantly submerging the entire square. Instantly. 100,000 miscellaneous soldiers wailed and trembled, and then all fell to the ground. What? Quote. Hodi's eyes widened like dumbbells, the bloodshot eyeballs almost popping out. My 100,000 strong army. Quote. It's gone. Quote. In an instant, a feeling of unreality arose. He felt like he hadn't woken up. My God. Am I seeing things? Quote. On the square, the Ryugu residents who were still mourning the second before all widened their eyes. They were directly dumbfounded. 100,000 people were killed in seconds. Is this still a human? Haki, conquerors. Quote. Could he be the emperor of some great country? Quote. Neptune and the three of Shark Star were also shocked. The difference was that they knew what that power was called. He actually has it too. Quote. Mingmei looked at Cam's back, feeling very surprised. She was right, Cam had just used Haki of the Supreme King. But Haki of the Supreme King is an ability that only 1 in 10,000 kings possesses. But the problem is that Cam doesn't do serious things all day long. How can he look like even half a king? Suddenly, Mingmei remembered the trip to Alabasta back then, when the morning sun was rising. Cam said he wanted to become the Harem King. Harem King. Is that also a king? Quote. The corner of Mingmei's mouth twitched, and she was immediately choked. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.